friends, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Indiana news, politics, and government you're not going to get anywhere else. That's what we do here on the Rob Kendall Show. And we start with, if you're thinking about getting gas, even if you don't really need gas, might be a good idea to get gas today or tomorrow early, because tomorrow night, the gas tax suspension expires. And according to the governor, it ain't coming back. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Because if you go back in the time machine, the gas tax, like property taxes, is a predatory tax done by design. You think about the two biggest taxes for many people, the ones that hit them most directly: property taxes and your gas tax. And the reason the General Assembly has chosen those is you can't opt out of them. You gotta live somewhere, unless you're going to be on the street. And so whether you're a renter or you're a homeowner, you're going to pay property tax. Landlords don't eat the property taxes. You pay it in your rent. So there's no way to get out of it. And if you also think about the system we have, in which a non-fiscal agent, in this case an assessor, can raise your taxes every year, which they do, via the assessment, which doesn't make any sense to anyone. Nobody can figure it out, including the assessor's offices many times. See my own issue that we've talked about on this show, where my neighbor across the street, home built identical year, little bit bigger lot, little bit bigger house, their property tax assessment went down, mine went up. Call the assessor's office. Hey, what's going on here? Don't know. Can you look into it? Got to appeal it. Well, but the appeals board is just going to ask you what went on here. Can't you just look into it, tell me, and then maybe I don't appeal it? Waste everybody's time? Nope, got to appeal it. You probably got a good case here. Nobody knows how any of this works, including the office themselves, because they outsource a lot of it. So they don't know. They have no idea. But the reality is your property taxes go up every year for most people, and you can't opt out of it. Certainly over time, they go up. The other predatory tax is gas. Why? Unless you're just a person who rides a bicycle everywhere, or you're an invalid, you got to drive places. You got to take your kids to school. You got to go to work. You got to go to the store. It's another tax you can't opt out of. And that's done by design. Everybody needs to understand these taxes are in place by design because the government wants their money. Be it a Republican government or a Democrat government, they're gonna get their money. And so tomorrow night, the tax on taxes, plural, remember we have two taxes on gas, the actual excise tax and the sales tax. And when you put those two taxes together, it's going to be over 60 cents that has been suspended for the past couple months. It's over with. So you theoretically will see a 60 cents or more spike in gas overnight. Now, that would be a big deal, even if gas were, let's say gas were regularly $3.25, $3.30 with the tax. And you'd gone from $2.60 or $2.70 to $3.30. That'd be a big deal then. It's sticker shock. You get pissed off when you see gas went up 5 cents a gallon, 10 cents a gallon. What do you think 60 is going to do? But it's a much bigger deal, or becomes an even bigger deal, when you see gas at $4 plus. We had the oil guy, Bill Herrick, on Monday. What'd he tell us? He said he thinks gas will easily in Indiana hit $4.50. Now, that's contingent upon the latest agreement that won't last with Iran, or potential agreement that won't come to fruition with Iran. But I think most reasonable people know that you're not going to get some lasting peace with the Iranians. You're not going to get some reliable agreement that's going to hold up. And we're just going to end up in this cycle of this never-ending conflict. So you plan on, for the foreseeable future, gas being $4 or more. And I think what's most frustrating, well, there's a couple things that are frustrating. One, there's zero reason for gas to be what it is right now. This is a created problem by the United States government in which we have done nothing to make our world, make our country more secure with this 5-month-plus engagement now with Iran. All of these expenses, all of these costs, including lives that have been lost, which is the most important cost. There's nothing you look at and go, after 5 months, man, we really got a lot out of that. You know, sometimes war is inevitable. You have to do it. I don't think there's any person who looks at World War II and goes, wrong decision made there. Bad move, guys. That had to be done. And it was. And there were a lot of lives that were lost, but everybody could see the benefit. If you lost a son in World War II or a husband, obviously that is incredibly painful, but you see what was accomplished and you say, I get it. With whether it's the engagement in Iraq or even Afghanistan or now Iran, if you are tragically one of those people who had a loved one perish, would you feel like it was for something? I don't think you do. So always when we talk about cost, right, we're always focused on the economics here at home. We need to keep in our thinking there are people who have died in this war. And no matter what we're paying financially, we have our lives. And so always keep those people in your thoughts as well when you talk about loss, when you talk about sacrifice. And I'm not a person who believes that you should not point out the sacrifice you're making as an American, because you are, as an American taxpayer. You are. You're paying more for everything. I saw Michael Hicks had a estimate that the Iran war is going to cost, Ball State economist Michael Hicks, piece in the Indy Star, the Iran war is going to cost the average person $6,000. A lot of money, especially at a time where everything is more and more expensive. So that's the first part of it, is you say, we're all paying more for gas, or then the truck drivers are paying more for diesel, which means we're paying more for everything else without any perceived benefit. That's frustrating. People don't mind sacrifice when they see a perceived benefit. Our country is better because of blank, and here's how. That hasn't happened. 5 months in. It's this just seemingly daily, erratic messaging from the U.S. government. There's an MOU. There's not an MOU. They were always liars to begin with. You can't trust these people. But ceasefire. Ceasefire's back up. We're going to obliterate them. No, now we held off. Now we're going to give them another chance. But we're going to take them out if they don't do it. It's just the same thing over and over again. It's horrible messaging by Trump. So that's the first part of the thing that really should make you angry. That's on a broad scale, the federal government scale. Bringing it back close to home, what should make you angry is our state is sitting on $4 billion in reserves. Now, reserves are government speak for overtaxation. $4 billion in overtaxation. And yet, even though estimates say that it's suspending the gas tax for a year, taxes, plural, for a year, could eliminate $1.5 billion from the Indiana Treasury. Public school math, guys. $4 billion seems like more than $1.5 billion. Like $2.5 billion more. So you could continue the suspension of the gas taxes, and the state would still be sitting on $2.5 billion of overtaxation. And yet there is zero motivation, either from the governor or the General Assembly, to do something for you. See, I don't think it makes you a bad person to ask, what does the government do for me? Because you pay for the government. You know, the old John Kennedy, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I don't believe that. If you're going to take my money, just like with any other service, and in this case, I don't even have a choice to pay for it, I want to know what you can do for me. Every service you pay for, you want someone to do something for you. Whether it's a lawn care service or your internet provider or the grocery store or whatever. You pay money, you get stuff. That's how it works. Sometimes it's goods, sometimes it's services, whatever. You pay money, you get stuff. It doesn't make you a bad person to say, what is my government doing for me? Because you're paying for the government. And in this case, what Mike Braun, the governor of Indiana, and the General Assembly are doing is telling you, you don't matter. We've taken $4 billion more than we need to fund the day-to-day operations of the government, including a $1 billion tax increase last year in the budget. And when presented with an opportunity to continue to really help people navigate a problem created by their party, the president is of their party, and it has proven to be helpful to people, the governor, the Republican governor, and the Republican General Assembly says, we're not doing that. And Braun's guilty on this because there's been zero fight from Braun about calling a special session. Remember, last winter, when it was to appease Donald Trump, even though he was told repeatedly that there was not an appetite for redistricting, he was told repeatedly the votes weren't there for redistricting, Mike Braun called a special session because it was important to Trump. Something that's important to you, which is being able to afford gas to put in your car, there's no fight whatsoever. Same argument I had during property taxes. Braun kept saying, well, the votes they'll override my veto. If I call a special session, they'll override the veto. Who cares? If they do it, then you've tried. At least you've tried to help people. But there was zero desire to try to help people with property taxes, to fight for good public policy. The same way as there appears to be zero desire by the governor or the General Assembly to fight to make gasoline more affordable for you. They have the tools. They have the ability. It's a yes or no vote. Do you want to suspend the sales tax on gas? Do you want to suspend the excise tax on gas? You know, I hear about, well, the cost of that's a drop in the bucket compared to the money people would be saving. It should be a one-day thing. We gavel in. Do you want to suspend this? Yes or no? Boom. Get everybody on the record. But they don't want everybody on the record. They want to be able to say, well, what is one guy to do? It's the same thing they did during COVID. When the governor was shutting the state down, when he was putting people out of work, when he was closing businesses, when he was doing just ridiculously stupid stuff like forcing you to wear a mask. There was no fight from the General Assembly, like actual fight. Some of them would get on social media and bitch about it, but they never did anything. There were no rallies put on by the General Assembly. There was no pressure put on, hey, you're going to call a special session or else. Nothing. Nothing. And even though Rod Bray, the leader of the Senate, and Todd Houston, the leader of the House, came out in support of Mike Braun suspending the gas tax via executive order, there's no fight from these people who have control over it. I can assure you, if Rod Bray, the leader of the Senate, and Todd Houston, the Speaker of the House, came out today and said, we got to get a special session to keep this gas tax suspended indefinitely, it would happen. They don't want to do it. Because what they're planning to do with that $4 billion in excess taxation, which is projected, now, we all know about how bad the projection people are in this state, but what is projected to rise to $5 billion by next year, they have plans to spend it. They're not going to waste it on helping you because they have plans to spend it. They have plans to indulge themselves in what we call the legalized vote buying process. You are an afterthought, and they're proving it to you based on the fact that they know this gas tax suspension is helping them or helping us, and it's a problem their party created, and yet there is zero desire to go to bat for you. The problem we run into is, and we're going to come back to the libertarians here in a moment, because hey, we moved the needle around here, guys. I know some people think the podcast is a little goofy, but nobody still moves the needle like us. Yesterday, of course, we launched on the libertarians, and these prominent libertarians out there insinuating that people who went to the secure border, no illegal immigration event in Greenfield, law-abiding, peaceful people, that they were somehow Nazis or the same as Nazis and KKK members or equivalent to. And we said here, I said yesterday, nobody in the media, no prominent member of the media has tried harder to give the libertarians a voice, because I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in, if you have ballot access, you having a voice, than me. But I'm done. If you're going to insinuate people who want the border secure are Nazis or KKK members, I'm out on you. You deserve to lose your ballot access, and to encourage everybody to do your part. Don't vote for the Libertarian Secretary of State candidate, because if she gets less than 2%, the Libertarians will lose their ballot access. And then they'll either have to decide one of two things. Do we want to become a legitimate party run by adults that actually behaves in a business-like manner, or do we want to permanently be done? Second one probably best. Second one probably more likely. And I hate this. And I had a conversation with several prominent libertarians yesterday. And I get it. These are not the people that are the clowns. And they're concerned because of the influence of this show that it will indeed cost them enough votes that they're going to lose their ballot access. And this is what I told these guys. I said, look, there's a lot of really good libertarians. I know I have a lot of friends who are libertarians, who are great people. But they're not either active enough in the party anymore, or influential enough in the party anymore, or willing to speak up. And you're under no obligation to do any of those things. But it's out of control. The party leadership, Dungeons and Dragons Club. It's some society in which they want to just keep the ballot access so they can feel like one of the cool kids. So I'm done with that. We're not doing that anymore. If you guys can't keep the nutbags in check, because there was no repercussion for these people, and they were saying it very publicly. Nobody stood up in leadership or the Secretary of State candidate and said, knock it off. We don't believe that here. You don't represent us. And so I did what I do yesterday, and it caused a mass panic in the Libertarian Party. And the party chair sent out an email, which we'll read to you guys here in a little bit, trying to clarify, hey, members, we're for mass amnesty, okay? We all know we're for mass amnesty, but you got to be nicer the way you say it. I mean, so it was good in the sense we got it on the record that the libertarians, and I'll read you the email, and you can tell me if you interpret the email as anything other than we're for mass amnesty. But you can't be calling people KKK and Nazi people, right? You just can't be doing that. But the point is, when all of these other parties make themselves completely unelectable, libertarians, the Democrats, I mean, in Indiana have been irrelevant for over a decade. The Republicans believe, and this is why I've said these parties have got to get their acts together. It's part of why I'm optimistic. Hopefully Greg Ballard, running as an independent Lincoln Party for Secretary of State, can form something better so that the Republicans get held accountable, because this is what you get when you have one-party rule, one-party unaccountable government. These people believe they can do whatever they want. They can treat your finances however they want, and they're doing it right now. by not further suspending the gas tax, not having a special session, despite sitting on these billions and billions of dollars in reserves, which is expected to escalate. Think about that. The expected escalation of our reserves between now and next year, the projection is almost what it would cost for the gas tax suspension for a whole year. You have $4 billion. It's projected to go something like $5.3 billion. The estimated loss, air quotes, to the government is $1.5 billion. You could still have roughly $4 billion. They're not doing it because they hate you. They're not doing it because they have plans to spend it. They're not doing it because they don't believe they work for you. They believe you work for them. So you got basically a day and a half to get your gas before it's going to go up again. Public service announcement brought to you by the Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to find anywhere else. Okay, guys, couple of housekeeping items. Help us out. Help us grow this program. If you like what we do, we've got some other people that are in the process of starting to pick us up, and hopefully we've got some announcements coming up here in the not too distant future. So if you're one of those people that are finding us for the first time, you can find us live on YouTube each day, 9 until noon Eastern Time, Rob Kendall Show. Just put Rob Kendall Show into your YouTube search bar. And then if you can't catch us live, we're on demand. Of course, YouTube's on demand. Then we're on all the platforms where you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all of the places. Wherever you're getting us from, give us a little thumbs up. YouTube, watch us live on demand, give us that thumbs up. Really helps us grow the program. If you're on the Apple, the 5-star review, all the on-demand platforms, help us out there. Share the feed out. If you find us, you like what we're doing, share it out. If you got a Facebook, if you got a Twitter, let people know. Our growth is organic. We're, of course, based right here in Indianapolis, and our goal is to get this, in the process of get this show out to all 4 corners of the state. And so wherever you're at, wherever you're finding us from, share the feed out. Let people know in your corner of the world, hey, this show is here and it's dedicated to Indiana news, politics, and government that people can't get anywhere else. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to whatever platform you got us on. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the places. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Also, we have a website, robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. There, you've got the live link. You've got all the on-demand platforms. You're like, I wonder if they're on whatever. Search it right there. We got all the list there. It goes right to the links. We've got articles we post each day from our favorite segments you hear on the Rob Kendall Show. And last but certainly not least, support button. If you like what we do, if you've found us recently, you said, this is the most amazing show ever. This show's great. I want to be a part of it. We got a support button, $1, $10, $100, whatever it is. We appreciate it. And what a great deal if you're one of our people here in Central Indiana. Our great sponsor of the YouTube chat, Black Sheep Plumbing, our pal John McKinney. Listen to this deal. As a way to support our show, if you hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com and you give to our program, I try to send you a thank you email. I was raised right. You write thank you cards. When you get a birthday gift, you get a Christmas gift, you write thank you cards. Well, we don't kind of do that anymore. You can do it. It'll be electronic messaging. So I try to send every person that gives at the robkendallshow.com a thank you email. If you need plumbing service this month, for the month of August, John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing, is going to double whatever you gave up to $100 for the Rob Kendall Show in a plumbing credit. So if you give $50 and let's say your toilet stops working or you got a leaky faucet or whatever it might be, you call John at Black Sheep Plumbing, which we're going to give you all that information coming up in the YouTube chat. If you gave $50, you can show thank you email. He's going to give you $100 in credit. You actually end up making money on this for the month of August. So all that stuff going on robkendallshow.com. We also have some great sponsors here on the Rob Kendall Show. One of them, Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. He is the owner of Indy Dwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony is trained with the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert selling strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. Oh, and yesterday we got into, in the YouTube chat, somebody asked about should there be caps on the amount of rentals. Should communities be able to cap the amount of rental homes that they have in their city or their town? And we were talking about the impact it might have on housing prices, that rentals have on housing prices, upkeep of the homes in the community. Anthony's going to be with us probably next week to talk about that. Talk about, hey, how much do rentals, do they raise prices, lower prices? The rental companies being able to come in and outbid, single families for homes, all that stuff. We're going to get into probably coming up next week. Okay, let's take our first break of the day. And we're going to get the libertarian stuff cut up here a little bit because this email from the party chair is priceless. But we've also got some great audio. The governor's race in Florida on the Republican side is getting wild. There's this guy. His name is James Fishback, and he is a massive, massive internet troll. And we're going to tell you some of the stuff that he has done, and he's accusing the front runner potentially of a crime. It's crazy. We'll get into that. Plus, this Max Miller stuff in Ohio. He is a congressional rep. His father-in-law is Bernie Moreno, U.S. Senator. There's all sorts of drama with that. We'll tell you about that. Fetterman was on with Jon Stewart and gave just these incredibly bizarre answers about lining up with the socialists, but then not liking the socialists. It was all sorts of great audio to get to. Don't go anywhere. We'll do it when we come back. You're listening to Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you'd get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young. Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for being with us. Indiana news, politics, and government. You can't get anywhere else. We do have a lot of national sprinkled in throughout the show as well. We try to hit you one segment a day of some of the best audio that I've found from around the internet. Or what else is going on in the world? And look, I haven't been paying a lot of attention to this, but this governor's primary in Florida is wild. And it is between a guy by the name of James Fishback, and he's running against a guy by the name of Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is a pretty prominent congressman. You've probably seen him a lot on Fox News and places like that. And they're both running in the Republican primary for Florida to replace Ron DeSantis. And the Fishback guy, I'm interested in him now because he is coming off as the world's biggest troll. And you know my theory on the politics. We hate all these people equally. And it's a giant clown show anyway. None of them actually really care about us. And so if they're going to screw us, if they're not going to be for us, if they're going to keep going to bat for themselves and their donors and the lobbyists, and they're not going to make our lives any better, then I'm all for somebody running as a troll. I'm all for somebody running to make other people's lives miserable, to make other people's lives difficult, because that's what the politicians are doing for us. And that's what this Fishback guy kind of comes off as. So he put out a video yesterday, and this is crazy. And Fishback's like a legitimate dude. He's not the dude like with the guy with the boot on his head. You know, he's like a legitimate guy. Like he has big following on Twitter. He's raised money. He's like running campaign ads. He's a legitimate guy running for governor. So sometimes you'll see this, right, from the fringes where, oh, this guy committed a crime, an atrocity, and a blah, blah. And of course, it's ridiculous. But this is a legitimate candidate for governor in Florida who put out a video yesterday accusing Congressman Byron Donalds of committing a crime and saying that if he doesn't come clean by Thursday, he's calling a press conference to release all the information. This is wild, guys. Take a listen to this.
A whistleblower came to my campaign recently with direct, disturbing evidence about a previously unreported felony crime committed by Byron Donalds. Not Byron Donalds, my opponent, Byron Donalds, the United States Congressman. My legal team has now fully vetted and verified this evidence. It is incontrovertible and it is damning. I will be holding a press conference in my personal capacity as a proud Republican, resident of Florida, and American citizen to share this evidence with the public. Congressman Donalds, I want to speak directly to you for a moment, if I may. You and I both know what you did. Let's just be honest. And if you come to the public and share the full extent of your criminal history, I will cancel my press conference. I believe it's better for them to hear it from you than from me. But if you don't, I will travel to Tallahassee on Thursday, present this evidence, and let the public decide. On matters this urgent, this important, this piercing, I look to the leadership of Governor DeSantis, and that sunshine is always the best disinfectant.
Now, right, okay, so there's two schools of thoughts on this. One, that's crazy. Like, what could it even be? He's a congressman. You see this a lot of times where people will hype it up, and then it's a bit, it's a lead balloon, right? It goes over like a lead balloon. But now you got my attention. What could it be? He's having the press conference. You come clean or I'm going to tell everyone what you did. Then you're like, does Donalds know what he did? Is Donalds sitting around like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Or is there like some heinous thing in the guy? Look, from a marketing perspective, the old school pro wrestling fan in me loves this. This is a great storyline now. You've got the guy running for governor against the other guy holding a presser saying this dude has committed some heinous crime against humanity and I'm going to let it out. I don't know. We'll see. Here's the other thing. But wait, there's more. The day before, Donalds was on some local TV show in Florida. It's called First Coast Connect. And it's one of those shows where, they interview them and then like they take calls from potential voters and, almost like a C-SPAN type of thing. And Fishback, and they don't know it's him. Like they say his name, like the first name, hello, James from Washington, right? They say, hello, James. Like not, this is James Fishback on the line. They apparently don't know it's him. He calls into this show. He gets through and starts grilling Donalds over his involvement in a failed charter school. This dude is a massive troll. I'm here for all of it. Take a listen.
Well, good morning, Ann. Good morning, Congressman Donalds. Happy first day of early voting. Congressman Donalds, you claim to be a staunch advocate of school choice. I just want to ask how you're going to hold charter schools accountable in the rare but serious cases when they defraud parents, investors, and taxpayers, namely Optima Classical Academy, which you and your wife abruptly shut down and left hundreds of students scrambling. I thank you for that question. Again, this is James Thomas Fishback.
And he gets his name in there. It's perfect. Look, I'm all for this. These politicians, they hate us. They treat us like dirt. See what they're doing with the gas tax here. They're projected at $5.5 billion of overtaxation, and they won't keep the gas tax suspended. These people, the Congress, go to the federal government. What the hell are those people doing for you? I love this. These people are all clowns. Let's give them the circus. If we've created a political environment in this country where we have unserious people who are in it for themselves across the board, who aren't doing anything for us, and it's hard to say as a member of Congress, with a few exceptions, anybody is actually out there doing anything for us. Because all the Republicans have done for the past year and a half that they've had control of the Congress, what? Nothing. Everything keeps getting more expensive. Inflation continues to rise. Cost of living continues to grow. They're doing stuff that is in direct contrast with making things more affordable, i.e. the Iran war. Nobody stands up to Trump. They don't care about us. I love this. I wish everybody would do this. That's why I said, if I ever ran for governor, it would be the best campaign ever. If I could get that $10 million, you guys would get $10 billion worth of entertainment out of it. Why? Because we know how to press buttons over here. We are professional button pressers. See how we made the Libertarian Party have a complete meltdown yesterday. I know some people don't think I'm as influential as I think I am, but damn, we got pretty good results. If I could get that $10 million and had some sort of head injury and got convinced to do it, it would be the best. We run the best ads. We'd have the best campaign strategy. It'd be like that real life movie Bullworth. Remember Warren Beatty? He's the senator and he just stops caring. And he starts saying all the things. We need more of that. We need more of this. Our government is a joke. Let's treat it like a clown show. I love this. This is great. All right. Fetterman. So, the crazy thing to me about John Fetterman, Democrat Senator Pennsylvania, is he's a total liberal. The Republicans are openly courting Fetterman to switch parties. But he's an absolute liberal. He was a leftist when he was lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania. He ran as a leftist, and by and large, he votes with the Democrats. But yet, because we're all about numbers now. It doesn't matter. The belief system doesn't matter anymore. Ideology doesn't matter to these people anymore. The only thing that matters is numbers, growing our influence. And so the Republicans take this guy Fetterman because he rips the Democrats on a couple of things. And they're like, oh, he'd be a great Republican. Well, in many ways, he might be a great Republican now. But Fetterman he's not a Republican. He's certainly not conservative. He's certainly not a liberty and freedom person. He's a big government liberal. And so he was on with Jon Stewart. This was fascinating. So Jon Stewart's got the weekly show now. You know, he had the daily show for years. Now he has the weekly show. And this back and forth between Stewart and Fetterman is fascinating because Fetterman, and I think he is, I think he was before he had his issue with his stroke, is an idiot. I mean, he's an unprofessional doofus. When I see this guy, I look at him and I think, what a slob. Now, he's actually wearing a suit in this interview. So I don't know if when it was recorded, that was the day he had the Fauci hearing, because he almost never wears a suit. I mean, that is he looks like a disgusting slob as a U.S. senator when he's like ogre with the hoodie and the gym shorts. Your U.S. senator, act like it. But whenever Fetterman speaks, and this was before the stroke, I get he can't put words together now because of his stroke. But even before the stroke, when you heard him talk, you're like, how did this guy become the lieutenant governor? But listen to what this back and forth. So this back and forth is Stewart basically banging his head against the wall about Fetterman ripping on the Democrat socialist people because of their view on Israel and the Democrats' lack of support for Israel, and saying that Fetterman might leave the Republican or leave the Democrat Party for the Republicans over Israel. And Stewart, and look, I'm Team Stewart on this, even though I don't agree with Stewart's politics. He's right. He's saying, look, you agree with these people on like 90% of the stuff, which when you hear him say it out loud, you're like, and the Republicans want this guy. This is the guy the Republicans are actively courting. The Republicans hate us as conservatives or liberty people, but this is the guy they want. And Stewart's saying to him, You agree with these Democrat socialist people on like 90% of the stuff, and yet you hate them because of Israel? And this back and forth is fascinating. Clip 3, take a listen.
So for you, you could agree with them 90%, but Israel is the red line.
Absolutely. Israel for me. Like I can't ever turn my back to Israel after where it's at.
So, and I mean no disrespect on this, but that is not our country. You're saying that these candidates may have great ideas for our economy. They may want to do the exact same thing you want to do in terms of getting money out of politics. They may want to increase the social safety net. They may want to change the balance of power from capital back to labor. But if they don't agree with you on Israel, you don't want them in your party.
Well, I don't know who you're referencing to specifically.
No, I'm referencing what you just said.
Name
So
one.
in other words, Syed or AOC or Bernie Sanders, I assume you agree with a lot of what they say economically.
And what I'm saying is, like, if you are a DSA member, if you are a member of a specific political party, run under your own banner. And now I think Bill Maher said something very insightful. He said, the DSA are colonizing the Democratic Party. So just be Democrats if you're going to run under the Democratic Party for that. Why have a DSA party for overall? So run on that, and you all understand.
Okay, we're going to play the second part of this in a moment. But first of all, how concerning is that you have a U.S. senator who his top priority is Israel? He's not an Israeli senator. He's a U.S. senator. And he is telling you in that interview, the only thing that matters to him is unwavering support of Israel. Look, we have reached an insanity point in our political system where if you question Israel or anything Israel is doing, you're somehow unacceptable. Look, I'm not it's genocide in Gaza person. But I look at a lot of what the U.S. does with this unwavering commitment to Israel, and I look at that and go, it doesn't seem like it's a great use of our expenditures. It doesn't seem like it always works out well for us. See what's going on with Iran right now. That doesn't make me an anti-Semite. It doesn't make me pro-Gaza or pro-Hamas. It just is common sense. But to Fetterman, I would be unacceptable. That should scare the hell out of everyone that you have a U.S. senator. First of all, you have a U.S. senator who can't speak. I mean, he cannot put sentences together. He puts words together and tenses of words together that they don't make any sense. That is unbelievable, too, that we have that. But that aside, you have a U.S. senator who his primary standard is what your view on Israel is. Not America, but Israel. That's the first part that should really concern everybody. The second part is he doesn't deny that he's on board with Bernie and AOC and Mamdani and the rest of these guys on the spending stuff. Now Stewart knows what he's doing because Stewart's really smart. So a lot of these liberal people, they're dumbasses. Stewart is not. Stewart, Maher, those guys, they know what's going on and they know what they're doing. Stewart knows it's not, there's a little, they want the to tilt a little more in favor of labor. He was like, all these well-meaning people just want a little better social safety net. No, the socialist people, they want to take over everything. They want to take over everything. By the way, you're listening to the Rob Kendall Show. And by the way, welcome. Thanks for being with us. So Stewart knows what he's doing when he does this. He's not painting the correct picture. But that's not what Fetterman's pushing back on. Fetterman's not like, no, I don't want any part of these people because they're lunatics and they believe in absolute takeover of the government. He's pushing back on them because they don't believe in unwavering commitment to Israel. Wild stuff. All right, here's the second part of this. And again, Fetterman makes abundantly clear Israel is totally the top priority. And the Republicans openly say they want this guy. He doesn't disagree with the socialists on a whole bunch of other stuff. And yet this is the guy, people. This tells you about the Republicans. They're openly courting this guy to come to their party when he is essentially in agreement with AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mamdani and the rest of these people on about 90% of the stuff. Take a listen.
If you don't disagree with him on a lot of things, why not use some of that energy? And even like Mamdani in New York is DSA, but there are things in the DSA platform that he disagrees with. And I'm assuming there's probably things in the Democratic platform that you might disagree with, but you don't disavow the entire thing. You're literally saying we can all have discussions, except when it comes to Israel, which is not America. It seems like a weird line to draw.
Well, so then, I don't think that's weird. I think what history demonstrates is that when people or a government or people turn their back to the Jewish community, things end really badly, and it's a dangerous.
Jewish community and Israel are not the same thing, brother man. They're not. That is not the same thing.
No. It's like, hey, it's like if I have to pick a side for after 10/7 and after Iran. I'm always going to stand with Israel. I'm always going to vote and support whatever that's necessary to protect themselves and to prosecute Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran too. And the very left never said a peep after Iran executed 30 to 40,000 young people in there just for protesting for democracy.
You think that the left is pro Iran, not the country, but the regime?
What I'm saying though is like if anyone in the Democratic Party is fine with Iran building a nuclear bomb, I disagree with that person.
I mean, I listened to that interview and I got done with it and I'm like, okay, the first part of it that obviously is this guy is a leftist, right? Fetterman is a leftist and I'm thinking like the Republicans want this guy. But then I start thinking too, you have a U.S. senator. That was nonsensical. The stuff he was saying, like, it's not that I disagree with his opinion. His answers don't make sense. Like, you ever been having a conversation with somebody who's been drinking too much? And you ask them a question and like they answer something different, or they start putting words that don't go together, or they start like not addressing the topic you're talking about. And you're like, what? That's what that sounded like to me. His answers did not fit the question, which tells me his brain does not function properly. You have a U.S. senator who puts words that don't go together, tenses that don't match up. He'll skip words and answers, and then he's providing answers to questions. It's not I agree or disagree. It doesn't match the question. That's a U.S. senator, and everybody just acts like that's okay for some reason, which blows my mind. All right, last piece of audio I want to get to today during the Rob Kendall Show. There is this controversy now involving an Ohio congressman by the name of Max Miller. Now, Max Miller is married to Bernie Moreno's daughter. Bernie Moreno is the U.S. Republican, U.S. Senator from Ohio. Max Miller used to work in the Trump administration, and then he got elected to Congress. He is the son-in-law of Bernie Moreno. Max Miller and his wife are in the process of getting a divorce. And in the process of this divorce, she has accused him of violent acts against her and her child. Max Miller has denied the allegations. But in the light of the Graham Plattner stuff, now the Democrats are looking for their version of this, and so they're on it, right? The media is on it. And Moreno came out. Moreno was silent on this for a long period of time, and then came out the other day and basically said this guy's a bad guy. He's a sleaze bucket. He should be out of the Congress, blah, blah, blah. So in response to this, Max Miller, the congressman from Ohio, puts out this trove of documents for the public to see, basically saying, here's the evidence, Dropbox, I think is what it's called. And it was public. He posts a link, right? You can go access the stuff. And he posts this trove of documents basically saying, she's not telling the truth. Moreno's not telling the truth. Here's the documents that support my side. Here it's all uploaded. Well, somehow, in the middle of this, in this trove of documents, there ends up being a naked photo of his daughter. She's like a little kid. And it's like in the documents for the public to see. And then his wife, Miller's wife, soon to be ex-wife, comes out and says, I want this examined for exploitation of children. There's a word I want to use. I'm not sure if I can use it on YouTube without getting in trouble, so I'm not going to use it. I don't know what they target and what they don't. But she's saying, and you guys know what I'm talking about. They want this. She wants this investigated for child exploitation. Miller then comes out and goes, I didn't even do this. My attorney did this. And then Miller, because he's getting such bad publicity, just starts making the media rounds. He went on with Jake Tapper on CNN, and Tapper asked him about this. And I got to say, he's a lot flippant given the situation he's in and the fact that and I'm very sensitive to this because I don't have any pictures of my kid on the internet anywhere. And some people put pictures of their kids on the internet. It's great. You parent your kid however you want. With all the weirdos and sickos out there on the internet, my kid just doesn't exist on the internet. If you do post pictures of your kid, that's great. You do whatever you want. But I'm looking at this thinking, if my attorney posted a naked photo, I mean, it was accidental. I don't think that's in dispute now. It was in some sort of document related to the court case, whatever, of my kid on the internet, I would be just outraged. And this guy seems sort of indifferent to it. You guys take a listen to this back and forth and tell me what you think. I'd be curious to hear in the YouTube chat. Take a listen.
When you did your live stream on Twitter or X on Sunday, you said you were doing so to protect your daughter. And you did so, and you also released a Dropbox on X with files involving your family to show that you were a good dad. Now, one of the files was an image of your daughter naked, and it was available in that Dropbox for a day before that photograph was removed. It's an image that your ex-wife's attorney says could qualify as child sexual abuse material. Your attorney has said that he is the one who did that, and he apologizes, but it is shockingly reckless behavior by you and your team.
I wouldn't say that it's shockingly reckless. That photo that was put in there is actually a part of an investigation by the Child and Family Protective Services, and that is already public knowledge that people can go and they can look through court-reported mandates. This is being taken very much out of context. There was no genitalia of my daughter that was exposed, and this is once again a very salacious headline.
It's not publicly available. We called the court today. It's not publicly available. But your attorney apologized.
I'm not defending it. It's awful. I
you
don't
just
like
defended it. You said it was taken out of context.
Well, because it is taken out of context in terms of how the articles have been written about it. I didn't do this. My attorney took full responsibility. I believe that it's awful. There was never any intent to do that.
I was just blown away at the lack of anger, right? Whether it was intentional or not, and this guy clearly is now fighting for his political life. The wife and the father-in-law say this happened. He says it didn't. And he's adamant he's staying in the race. Now, obviously, the door got open on this with the Plattner stuff. But if the picture like that of your child got exposed, wouldn't you be just livid? Wouldn't you be just outraged? Now, Jason asked why the picture exists. It's my understanding it was part of this court case because the ex-wife has alleged, or soon-to-be ex-wife, has alleged abuse of the child. Miller has denied it. I don't know if they took pictures. I don't know exactly if that's why it is. The point is, it's in these court documents. He then says something that appears to be blatantly untrue, which as well is publicly available. I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works. I mean, at least not here in Indiana. Maybe Ohio has very different laws, but I don't think that's how that works. But whether it works like that or not, if someone made that mistake, which again, it does appear to be there was nothing intentional, but it was made. Now your kid is central to all of this, and clearly there's big media attention. This is a seat in the U.S. Congress. The media, just like with the Plattner stuff, and I don't think it's because the guy's a Republican. I think they got into the Plattner stuff too. His father-in-law is a U.S. senator. He's a sitting congressman. It's a swing state. Well, now they think it certainly is a swing district based on the troubles he's having. And you allow this to happen and you're not upset about that. I thought that was very interesting. Maybe I missed the boat on all of it. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the YouTube chat. And of course, speaking of YouTube chat, into the program, for our subscribers to the YouTube channel, all you got to do, Rob Kendall Show on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You're in. You can chat with hundreds of other Rob Kendall Show fans, and you can be a part of the program with us each day. At the end of every program, Jason reads the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Okay, one of our fabulous sponsors here on the Rob Kendall Show, Bramwell Mackay. You guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. BRAMWELLMCKAY. BramwellMackay.com. Your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right, coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to get into the whole libertarian saga. This email that went out yesterday was just completely ridiculous. But one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick, because I know we may have some new listeners coming in from certainly maybe the northwest part of our state. Big news up there. IU and Notre Dame have called off the home and home that they had planned in 2030 and 2031. This is huge news because obviously IU is now the defending national champions. I don't think anybody thought IU was going to be quite this good when they put this home and home together. Notre Dame is one of the top programs in college football almost every single year, probably nationally the biggest brand in all of college football. And they were scheduled to play a home and home in 2030 and 2031, and via mutual agreement, they have now both called off this home and home, and the reasons are fascinating. Real quick, we don't do a lot of sports on this show. Just real quick here, the reasons on this are fascinating. Notre Dame is doing it because they are renewing their rivalry with USC. Of course, for 90-plus years, Notre Dame and USC have played. It's always one of the biggest games of the year in college football. Due to scheduling, Notre Dame aligning with the ACC during COVID. They started taking on more ACC games to get their other programs into the ACC. USC going to the Big Ten. They canceled the rivalry, and people were outraged about this. I mean, every year it's a huge game, Notre Dame and USC. And so they have announced that they are going to renew that rivalry beginning in 2030. There's a four-game series between them. They're bringing it back. The one that got me, though, was IU. IU didn't object. This is a huge money game for IU, but IU didn't object because basically like, we don't believe in playing anybody good in the Big Ten season or in the pre-Big Ten season. Big Ten's tough enough. We want 4 cupcakes. We rolls into the Big Ten undefeated. So yeah, Notre Dame was like, hey, we got this classic rivalry. It's a big game for us. We want to bring it back. And you'd think you'd be like, well, we have a contract, man. We're not giving up this game. IU's like, no, it's fine. We'd prefer to play Eastern Middle Directional University for 3 games, roll into the Big Ten, and that's tough enough because the way the tournament works now, all you got to do is just lose 1 game and you're going to be in. So I thought that was incredible that these two teams who had this huge thing planned, there was big publicity about it. IU and Notre Dame were going to play each other. Of course, they played each other 2 years ago in the college football playoff, and that was a huge deal in Notre Dame. And they were like, oh, this is going to be great. And then they were both like, nah, we're not doing that. We both agreed, but for totally separate reasons. Notre Dame's got their cash cow back against USC, and IU's like, we don't want to play anybody good in the preseason. Great stuff. All right, guys, you are watching. You're listening to The Rob Kendall Show. When we come back, we're going to get in to all of this stuff with this email yesterday. The libertarians sit out because of our show. Nobody moves the needle like us. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for being with us. Nobody does Indiana news and politics and government like us. Coming up here in just a moment. Well, we had a day yesterday, and the Libertarian Party chair sent out a big old email about immigration because of what we pointed out some of their members' views were on immigration, what they thought of the public at large who had differing views than them. And so we'll talk about that in a moment because it's really what they said without realizing maybe they said it. So we'll get to that here in just a moment. Before we do that, though, hey, many homeowners, they're sitting on more equity than they realize. If you've owned your home for a few years, now may be a good time to explore options. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage is a local mortgage advisor helping Central Indiana homeowners refinance to access cash for home improvements, consolidate higher interest debt, or simply review whether a better loan structure is available. Gary believes every homeowner deserves a personalized mortgage review, not a one-size-fits-all solution from a call center. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS, number 179207, equal housing lender. Also, quick reminder, if you guys can help us out, it really does help the program when you hit that little thumbs up. If you're watching us live on YouTube and you haven't done so yet, or you're watching us on demand on YouTube and you haven't done so yet, give us that little thumbs up. Really helps us grow the Rob Kendall Show. One other housekeeping item, save the date. Saturday, October the 3rd. Big party for Rob Kendall Show listeners and viewers at the palatial Seymour Estate of our third hour sponsor, John Rust. John's throwing a big party, does this big bash every single year, and this year he said, I want the Rob Kendall Show listeners and viewers in on it. So come hang out with us. Saturday, October 3rd. Event starts at noon. It's totally free. There's going to be patriotic music, antique car show, free lunch catered by Double D's, fabulous sponsor of the Rob Kendall Show. We've got birthday cake. It's going to be Jason's birthday, October the 3rd. I'm going to give a little speech about how awesome the country is. Whole bunch of fun. No cost to attend. All you got to do, come and hang out with us. Send an email to John Rust, rustforamerica@gmail.com, rustforamerica@gmail.com. Let John know you're coming. Let John know how many people you're bringing with you. That way he knows how much food he's got to have for the event. We're anticipating as many as a couple hundred people are going to be there. So make sure you come join us, hang out with us, and have some fun Saturday, October 3rd. Oktoberfest going down in Seymour, I think, that weekend as well. So when you get done there, you can go over there as well if you want to. So join us, rustforamerica@gmail.com. All right. So let's get to what happened yesterday. And it appears we finally got the attention of the Libertarian Party. Now, yesterday, I came on the show and said after years and years and years of being one of the few members of the media that gave validity to the Libertarian Party, despite having every incentive not to, I'm done with it. Because a couple days ago, I saw a string of comments from different people who are prominent in the Libertarian Party saying very derogatory things about people who went to the Save Heritage Indiana rally, specifically comparing them, making associations with them to Nazis and KKK members. And I said, look, if you want to have the ridiculous opinion that borders shouldn't exist, if you want to have the ridiculous opinion that people should just be able to come into this country and do whatever the hell they want, okay, right? I think you're insane. But that's your right. But what I'm not going to tolerate, because I knew a bunch of people in that audience, a lot of them are people that I like. But look, the two of the featured video speakers, the Attorney General and the Lieutenant Governor, can't stand them. But there's plenty of things to actually criticize these people on rather than saying ridiculous stuff like they're Nazis and KKK members. Because there's not much worse you can say about somebody in society than they're a member of the Ku Klux Klan or they're a Nazi. And a lot of people suffered immensely, died, in the case of the Nazis, at the hands of these people. And it is demeaning and is belittling to the actual suffering that took place by those people to compare anyone to those people who is not one of those people. There's a lot of people I saw in that audience. They're not political friends of mine, but I know they're not Nazis. There's plenty of opportunity to criticize people and their views on actual stuff. And we now have entered a point in our society where it's basically anyone I disagree with, they're a Nazi. That's the new thing. You're a Nazi. You're a KKK person. And so what I said is I watched most of that Save Heritage Indiana, but not the whole thing. Couldn't recite it to you verbatim, was doing other stuff, but I had it on. And a lot of the views they were expressing, I agree with. I agree with legal immigration. I agree with strict border enforcement. I agree that if you have broken the law and come in this country, you have to leave. I agree that we have major issues with people committing fraud with the asylum system. As J.D. Vance, play the audio of J.D. Vance laying that out yesterday. I believe we need much stricter rules around who we legally let into this country. But I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a member of the Klan. And if you're going to say those people are, then you're basically saying I am as well. Because while I wasn't at the event, I agree with a lot of, maybe not everything, but a lot of what they had to say. So if you're going to call me a Nazi or a KKK member for simply saying I want secure legal immigration that has standards to it, and if you broke the law, you shouldn't be rewarded, then I'm done with you. And not only am I done with you in terms of not giving you any more airtime, or your candidates, who usually are boring as hell, by the way. I used to get lectured all the time about having those people on because they're boring and everybody knows they're a joke and everybody knows they have no chance to win anything because they're not a serious party. But I did it. You know, think of like the handful of people, libertarians, who have actually had some level of success. Rupert and Andy Horning in 2012, and that was because our guy Spangle was leading the libertarians back then. That's why they were successful. You had Rainwater in 2020, Jeff Moore in 2022, and there have been great libertarians run for office like Mark Rutherford. But by and large, after 35 years, there's been no progress. It's the same. We hang on to our ballot access by a thread. Usually the 2.5%, 3% is what our candidates get. So I'm certainly not going to waste my airtime and try to help out people. And I did it, not even because I'm a libertarian. I did it because I believe in free speech and I believe in voices being heard. But if you're going to call me why would I help you? That's what you think of me. And I said, not only that, but the fact that the Libertarian candidate for Secretary of State, Lori Schillings, was a part of at least one of these conversations where people were insinuating the Nazis, the KKK stuff, and she did nothing to shut it down. At no point did she say, that's ridiculous. Those people are not that. Or, hey, I may not agree with them on border enforcement, but they're not that. You guys got to stop. Her response was something like, I don't know anything about this. Well, then if you're that stupid or clueless, then I want you eliminated from ballot access anyway. Everybody knew about this rally. Everybody knew about this event. Everybody knew about the counter protest. It was one of the biggest stories around the state. I don't believe for a second she didn't know, which means she's too weak to stand up to her own people, the insane clown people, So I don't want her anywhere near ballot access. And so I said, I'm encouraging everyone to not vote for the Libertarians. If they're going to call me and others who are just law-abiding good people Nazis, that's what you think, and nobody's going to stand up in that party power structure, then okay, I'll take you at your word. Consider me done with you people. And as usual, nobody moves the needle like us. And so a few hours later, it came to my attention from a couple people who had received the correspondence that the new state party chairman for the Libertarians sent out a very long email about how the Libertarians actually view the border. And I'm going to read you, with a little commentary sprinkled in, this email that went out. And when you get done hearing this email, you're going to basically realize these people are, the official Libertarian position is mass amnesty. No borders, mass amnesty, people come and go as they please. They just recognize, oh crap, we've got a bunch of idiots who can't keep their mouths shut and have no self-control, and now we're getting a bunch of flack, and people are going to figure out what our actual border position is because they're calling people Nazis and KKK people. So while the email basically says, well, you shouldn't be the name calling, it does nothing to dispel the fact that they are a party of mass amnesty. They are a party that doesn't believe in borders. They don't believe in rules. They believe in we do whatever the hell we want to do. Here is the letter from the new chair of the Libertarian Party. Fellow Libertarians, protecting fundamental individual rights must remain a core principle of any immigration framework. Stop. You don't have rights if you enter the country illegally. You don't have the same rights as me. I am here. I follow the law. The whole premise of you being here is you broke the law. You're not abiding by the rules. You don't get the same rights or rules as me when you break the law. But the Libertarians believe you do. You want rights? Don't break the law. Come in the right way. Email goes on to say, while immigration policy can and should be evaluated, debated, and modernized, reforms must not permit practices that target individuals on the basis of race, ethnicity, name, clothing, or other superficial characteristics. No one is being removed from the country because of those things. They're being removed because they're here illegally. And you know what the Libertarians are doing? And this is the party chair. So this is official communication because they were trying to do yesterday. Well, those people don't speak for us. I mean, they're prominent Libertarians, but they don't speak for us. Well, this lady certainly does. And what she's doing right here is the same thing we saw at that rally in Fishers the other day, where they try to paint that anybody who's for legal immigration, who wants border security, is judging people on the way they look. They're a bunch of basically racists is what they're saying. They're going after brown people. No, I'm going after all the people here illegally. The brown people, the white people, the Chinese people, the black people, the white people. I'll go back to the white people again. If a white Canadian illegally enters the country, I want him or her out of here. But this is what the Libertarians are doing. It's the same language you heard from the Abolish ICE people in Fishers, which means they're simpatico. Letter goes on to say, equal protection and due process are essential components of a functioning legal system and must apply to all individuals within the U.S. You shouldn't have any protection if you aren't a U.S. citizen and you knowingly break the law to enter the country illegally. This woman believes that hyper-dangerous cartel people who come here to kill people and poison our kids deserve the same rights as you and me. That's what she believes. There may be room to revise immigration policy so that individuals who have lived in the United States for an extended period without legal status have a pathway to become lawful residents or citizens. Mass amnesty. The head of the Libertarian Party in Indiana is telling you that the Libertarian Party official position is mass amnesty. Libertarians are for mass amnesty. If you vote for any Libertarian, you are affirming mass amnesty unless any of them speak out against it, which I haven't heard. This email went out yesterday. I haven't seen a single libertarian running for public office object to it. So you have to assume when this person has spoken in their official party capacity that that is the view of the libertarians. Mass amnesty. And not a single candidate I've seen so far has spoken. I said, no. That woman don't speak for me. No. So you have to assume any libertarian you see on your ballot, unless you hear them say differently, publicly believes this. That discussion is worth having. What should not be acceptable is an environment in which individuals feel compelled to live under constant fear or detention or removal solely based on perceived appearance or assumptions about immigration status. Again, trying to play the race card. Trying to say, they're targeting just brown people. All these people are living in fear. If you're not in this country illegally, you have nothing to fear. There's probably 20 million people that got in this country illegally, most of them under Joe Biden. If you're not here illegally, you don't have anything to fear. This woman and this party is more on the side of the cartels and protecting them than they are ICE. Think about that. Her whole deal is she is more worried about how somebody might feel if they get questioned about their immigration status rather than the people who are actually doing their jobs. ICE are not the bad people here. You know who the bad guys are? The people who broke into the country illegally. You know who the good guys are? The people who do it the right way. The people who wait years in line and go through the whole process to become American citizens. And they come here and they assimilate and they contribute. A lot of brown people do that. No problem anybody has with any of them. They're trying to make it about race. She's basically saying you're a racist without using the word racist because she knows what it got her yesterday. She knows what it got the party yesterday. It's the same words, or it's the same theme, same premise, just different words. Economic impacts must also be evaluated through a comprehensive policy lens. Immigrants contribute to local and national economies through labor participation, tax payments, and consumer spending. While some communities may experience short-term pressures related to new arrivals, listen to that. While some communities may experience short-term pressures related to new arrivals, that's what we're calling illegal immigrants now. New arrivals. Large-scale deportation efforts would likely produce significant negative economic consequences, including reduced local spending, labor shortages, and disruption to essential services. So who cares if your city or your town's being overrun with dangerous, violent criminals? People sucking resources, taking jobs from Americans, lowering wages for Americans. Who gives a damn about any of that? Illegals need to say because of economics. That's her argument. We don't give a damn about the people like Lake and Riley who end up dead because of these people, because economics. They're new arrivals. That sounds like something like you get it like a record store or something. Hey, have you heard the new Taylor Swift album? Yeah, the new arrivals came in. That is insanity. Policymakers should weigh these outcomes when assessing enforcement strategies. So what she's saying is, again, mass amnesty. These people, the economics of them, you should just let them come. Open the doors and let them in. Let them do whatever the hell they want to do. Stay as long as they want, with whoever they want, do whatever. Don't get them out of here because of economics. That's the official position of the Indiana Libertarian Party. Recent rallies advocating both for mass deportation and for the protection of undocumented immigrants illustrate the diversity of public opinion. Lady, I don't think there is a lot of diversity of public opinion in Indiana, where you are. I think people are overwhelmingly on the side of the people in that tent in Greenfield, much more so than they are the abolish ICE people in Fishers. And if you want to say differently, then look at the ballot box every year. People hate the Republicans and what they've done economically in this state. And by the way, you libertarians have every opportunity to capitalize on that, and you don't take it because you're not a serious party. You're a bunch of clowns. I'm talking about the people calling the shots and the vocal people. Every opportunity to gain points on economics, and you spend your time on this stuff. She's spent more time advocating for illegal immigrants than she has your property taxes, your utility bills, cleaning up corruption with the IEDC. That's what she sent her letter out about. And she only sent the letter out, which I'm not done with yet, because of what we did here on this show yesterday. Each group is entitled to express its policy preferences. However, no policy proposal, regardless of its political support, should compromise fundamental individual rights or constitutional protections. You shouldn't have any constitutional protections if you came here illegally to harm other people. It is the belief of the Libertarian Party in Indiana that these dangerous cartel people should have constitutional protections. They break the law. They enter the country illegally. They're not U.S. citizens. Take care of them, though. Take care of them. It's time to focus on building an immigration policy that is coherent, humane, and workable for everyone. Translation, recap. We're for mass amnesty here with the Libertarian Party. We just got a lot of crap today because Rob Kendall talked about what some of our idiots who couldn't keep their mouths shut thought, because they said exactly what they thought. This is, I mean, again, at least she doesn't think, I mean, you can think we're Nazis. You can think we're KKK people if you believe in border security. Just don't say it out loud. You guys got to be smarter about what you say out loud, because I don't want to deal with Rob ripping on us anymore. Gross. Absolutely gross, but exactly what we thought the libertarians were. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, on the water in beautiful Brazil. Great opportunity. If you're stressed out by the libertarians acting like a bunch of idiots and need to get away, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage might be the perfect place for you. Awesome, made from scratch meal. You can sit on the water, outdoors, get away, relax. Hoosier grub. That's what they call the food they make there at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Specials this week. Company meatloaf. Bacon-wrapped pork medallion with sriracha honey drizzle. Bacon-wrapped pork medallion with sriracha honey drizzle. Salted caramel cheesecake and hummingbird cake. Just some of the fine dish options this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage in Brazil. They're open Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, Sunday for brunch buffet. See the full menu at their website. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Check out the cottage as well. It's awesome. You make a weekend of it. Stay at the cottage, eat at the restaurant, get out and about, out in the world, as we like to say, and it's close enough you can get back home pretty quick. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Reservations 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, our old pal, the Duke of Spendingburg, Todd Young, he has flipped his vote on something very important, and he could be the reason this thing now comes to fruition. It's actually a good thing. We're going to say something nice about Todd Young when we come back. How about that? That's a teaser, right? You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. If you can, help us out. Give us that thumbs up. Like the show. It really helps us grow. The Rob Kendall Show couldn't do it without you guys. All right, so before we get to Todd Young, because Todd Young did something yesterday that I was like, hey, this is good. You know, people are like, you're so mean to these politicians. Not when they do something good. And he did. And so we're going to give him some credit here in just a little bit. But first, this Michigan Senate primary. Did you guys see this? This is crazy. So there is really sort of, it kind of has been labeled as like the fight for the Democrat Party. Like, what is the future of the Democrat Party? And it's playing out in Michigan for their primary day was yesterday. And it featured this guy, Abdul El-Sayed, who's like a local health official, and he's backed by Bernie Sanders and AOC, and he's one of these. Now, he technically says he's not a Democrat socialist person. He's the socialist. He's right in lockstep with all the other ones. And Haley Stevens, who is this moderate Democrat congresswoman from a suburb outside of Detroit. And the Democrats, the establishment, are coming heavy for her at the end because they're like, if this El-Sayed guy wins, it's going to open the door to all of these other socialists coming out of the woodwork and starting to run and win elections. And so we got to like this is Custer's last stand, right? And so they had a whole bunch of high-profile establishment Democrats come out in support of Haley Stevens. Also, the polling shows very clearly Stevens is a much better candidate to run against Mike Rogers, the Republican, in the fall than El-Sayed, because El-Sayed is viewed as an extremist, which he is. Now, this Stevens woman is a liberal, right? It's not like you're going to get some iron lady here. It's not Margaret Thatcher, but compared to the El-Sayed guy, she's way more normal, way more mainstream. And Stevens was down huge in a lot of the polling leading up to Election Day, as much as 10 points or more in some of these polls. And the race, this was as of 6 this morning. Now, this may have changed, but this was as of 6 this morning. I was putting the show together. El-Sayed is leading by only 1.2 percentage points. And there was 95, this court Associated Press, there was 95% of the vote tabulated. El-Sayed, 735,625. Haley Stevens, 716,222. So she is basically 19,400 votes behind this guy, which is certainly doable with 5% of the vote outstanding. What's wild about this, though, and why this race is now super interesting to me, is there was a third woman running. Mallory McMorrow was her name. And she has since, I believe, thrown her support behind El-Sayed, but she dropped out of the race. She still got 60,893 votes, 4% of the vote. 60,893 people voted for a woman who was not running. And the actual race between the two people who are running is decided by just over 19,000 votes, or 1.2%. What? Somebody help me understand. why you would vote for someone who dropped out. I've never understood this. Is it just a protest vote? Is that what you're doing? This has never made any sense to me about how these people who have long dropped out of the race. It wasn't like the day before the election. She's like, I'm out. This was a while ago. And yet she still got 60,893 votes where these two candidates, and it's not like, oh, they're the same person. They're very different. The Democrat Party has drawn battle lines between the two of them. You got one side over here, one side over here. And yet 60,000, almost 61,000 people were like, give me the lady who's not even running. And that right now is the decider. I'm not saying all the votes would have gone one way or another, but unless they were split down the middle, if one of the camps favored her, or if she favored one of the camps, which, I mean, she endorsed the El Said guy, so one would think there, that's crazy. That 61,000 people voted for someone not even running and was like, don't vote for me. I'm dropping out. Wild stuff. We'll see. It's very close. There's a lot of people that think, based on what's out there, Stevens may have enough to be able to get across the finish line, which would be a massive win for establishment Democrats. It would be a massive loss. I'm torn on this because I'm not a fan of the Republicans, but the idea of watching the Democrats lose is fun to me too. And it's been a long time since Michigan's had a Republican senator. So I'm torn on this because on one hand, if El Said loses in the primary, it's a huge loss for Bernie Sanders and AOC and the socialist people, which that's good. Did they declare it?
MLM Warriors said El Said defeated Stevens 4 minutes ago.
Well, we'll see. I don't have a phone in front of me. Maybe you can look that up as the fabulous producer of the Rob Kendall Show, because they said as of this morning it was too close and they weren't going to know for a while. So maybe they've changed their mind. You know that happens, right? Ballots just show up. Look at all these ballots we found. Maybe it was one of those again. I don't know. But very interesting. Regardless, I don't think he's winning by more than 60,000 votes, and 61,000 people voted for somebody who's not running.
37 minutes ago, he wins.
Okay, so they've said he won. There you go. So if you're a Republican, probably good news for you, because the whole argument on El Said, and this is what was interesting, because the media was in full spin mode. The media was fascinating to watch throughout this race because the media recognized this El Said guy is going to be a big problem in the general election. So the media was on the side of Stevens. Like, you look at the pieces they wrote about El Said and the pieces they wrote about, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, the pieces they wrote about El Said and the pieces that they wrote about Stevens were very different. And they recognized that El Said is going to be a major problem in the general election. So they started spinning towards the end because they look, if they got to have a Republican or this El Said guy, they're going to take El Said. They just don't think he can win. So they started spinning going, well, if El Said wins in a landslide, then he'll probably have a pretty good chance in the general election, even though the polling in the general election polling shows El Said's got a big problem running against Rogers. So now they said if it's close, because they thought he was going to blow her out. So the narrative started becoming, well, he blows her out. It's a good night for him. If it's close, well, that's not going to be good. Well, now it was close. He won. So all of the problems the media identified have come to fruition. There you go. All right. So that's what we know. Who votes for somebody who's not even running? That's wild to me.
He got 48.5%, Stevens 47.5%.
Okay, so he won by 1%. It's over? They've called it?
Yeah.
Okay. So he won by 1%. Another example of people saying your vote doesn't count. It really does. That's a really big deal, right? I mean, it's another example of a close race. We saw this in, quite a few of these primaries here in Indiana this year. I think some people don't vote because they think, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, the vote, it doesn't count. It does. I guarantee both of those two candidates would have loved to add those 61,000 people who are just protest vote. There you go. All right, Todd Young. Let's talk about Todd Young for a second. Todd Young is going to end up potentially being a key vote on what I think is the right side after being on the wrong side for a very big issue. And that is the Protect College Sports Act. So the NCAA has been trying for a couple of years now to get Congress to act to clean up college sports. And what the NCAA says, and much of this is the NCAA's own doing, NCAA acted in a ridiculous manner for decades of stupid rules, overzealous enforcement, ridiculous standards, and the inevitable end of that was it was going to end up in court and they were going to lose. The NCAA did this to themselves. Look, college sports is increasingly getting more and more unwatchable. You've got kids getting paid huge money, people transferring, leaving every year. You don't know who's going to be on the team from one year to the next. You've got guys that have played 6, 7, 8 years. You've got pros who've been able to come back. People are just like, this is stupid. Part of the fun of college sports is watching these kids go from kids to adults, watching them grow up in front of you, watching a kid when he's a freshman and say, wow, I can't wait to see him when he's a junior or a senior. That kid's going to be good. You see a kid now as a freshman, you have no idea if he's coming back from one year to the next. They may be your team, but there's no investment. You know, like I asked this question about IU. Does it demean IU's national championship because they were essentially players that were purchased? And I get that every team has the same ability IU does. They worked the portal better. They got better players. They were coached better. I get that. But when it's different players from one year to the next, you don't get to know these kids. You don't get to learn about them. It's just like, here's our hired mercenaries for the year. I find that very uninspiring. And it has hurt now obviously I will watch. Got to do something, right? But it's not the way it used to be. I used to know every player on Notre Dame's football team as a kid. Used to know every player on IU's basketball team as a kid. This year, as of right now, I can probably name you about 5 guys on Notre Dame's team. And on the other teams, I got to start learning because we got the Pigskin Plays and Props sports betting show that starts in a couple weeks. And I'll do it. I'll do the work. But it's just, I don't know. So anyway, the NCAA had said, look, this is out of control. We're losing in the courts. And we can't get around the courts. We need Congress to lay out a set of laws that will protect us, essentially creating special laws for the NCAA, which Congress has the ability to do, essentially antitrust protection. And that has become, and it's a bipartisan bill, written by Ted Cruz, a Republican of Texas, and Maria Cantwell, a Democrat of Washington, called the Protect College Sports Act. And essentially what that bill does, it does a whole bunch of things, but here are the main things. It significantly limits the ability for conferences to expand. The idea that USC and Indiana are in the same conference is stupid beyond words. UCLA, Purdue, stupid. There's no whole point of the Big Ten, especially pre-Penn State coming in the early 90s. It was a very tight geographical area, right? It was Ohio, it was Indiana, it was Illinois, it was Iowa, it was Michigan, it was Minnesota. And then obviously they added Penn State, and then they added Nebraska. And at least geographically, those are still somewhat make sense. But then when you got into Maryland and Rutgers, that's stupid. What does New York have in common with Indiana? Nothing. And then obviously they said, oh, hold our beer. And they went and got all the California teams and Oregon. So it's going to limit that dramatically. The Indy Star has a big article about this, by the way. Very good write-up about what's going on here. And we'll talk about Todd Young's role in it in just a second. Strength and protections around the NIL clearinghouse process. The NIL stuff is a dumpster fire. And this will really put some restrictions around it and really get some uniformity to what can happen with NIL. The NIL it's the worst possible thing they could have done. But it's what they had to come up with given how the courts had ruled. It would create an 8-figure retention fund for college athletic departments, in addition to the already existing revenue sharing cap, as well as another $5 million for athlete retention in non-revenue and Olympic sports. So basically, NIL, not going to go away, but huge restrictions on that, and it would create this other pool of money, which is much easier to track, levels the playing field, gets sort of everybody under the same umbrella. Now, some of the big ones. Codifies the one-term transfer exemption for athletes. That's the big one, the one-time transfer exemption. You can't leave every single year. You can go once, and that's it. Choose wisely. It also puts the 5-year cap in as well. And then the last thing it does is it stops these coaches from being a-holes like Lane Kiffin and leaving in the middle of the season. There's a whole bunch of good. It's not a perfect bill, but given you almost never get a perfect bill given the given the hurdles of getting something through the U.S. Congress, this is much better than what's currently in place. But the votes were short in the Senate. And yesterday, Todd Young, who was seen as one of the major movers on this bill, like if he moved, others were going to move, because he had previously voted against the bill in committee, came out and said, I'm now for the bill. Now, here's what happened between now and then. When the bill was heard in committee, the Commerce Committee, the Big Ten was still against the bill. There were certain things that the Big Ten and the SEC, who are the two behemoths in college football now, it's the Big Ten, the SEC, and everybody else. And obviously, Todd Young has 2 schools in his state that are in the Big Ten. They were against the bill because they felt it did too much restriction on them. And so they were against the bill. 2 things have happened, though, that caused the Big Ten and SEC to change their mind. 2 things. Number 1, there is now a real push out in Oregon, I believe it is, for unionization of college athletes. And if these guys are allowed to unionize, which this bill would essentially stop, college athletics is over. If you have college kids being treated like employees by the university, it's over. These universities will fold because the insurance and everything else, they'll go under. And so the Big Ten and SEC were like, we may not like this bill, but we can't have that. It's going to get out of control quick. And the courts keep siding with these student athletes, and they're like, we got to do something. That was the first thing. The second thing is a court ruled that a bunch of these kids who were the class of 22, as in they entered college in 2022, now get automatic 5th years. And they said there's no reason for these guys to have 5th years. They weren't hurt. There was COVID. We were all open for business again, and the courts ruled in their favor. They said, we got to stop this. We have to have clear parameters because the courts are going to go for 6 years and 7 years, and we can't have any time some district court judge gets a wild hair up his backside that'll change the rules again. And so the Big Ten and the SEC relented and said, we've gotten enough changes to this bill that we are now satisfied. We will support the bill. And in light of that, Todd Young has announced that he will support the Protect College Sports Act, which he was believed to be. It was sort of like, remember with redistricting, where Greg Good, who ironically works for Todd Young, the Republican senator from Terre Haute, was sort of seen as the swing vote, like wherever he was going to go, a bunch of those Republicans were going to go with him, and nobody knew. And then when he came out against redistricting, it was overwhelmingly the vote was against. That's the way Todd Young was seen. They now project this bill to easily pass the Senate, and it could get up to 70 votes. Again, it's not a perfect bill. It's not going to solve all the issues with college athletics. But it at least addresses some of the insanity that will create some stability and get college athletics out of being under the thumb of rogue judges who issue these rulings, and it makes it impossible from one year to the next to know what the rules are even going to be. And Todd Young said this: Hoosiers love college sports, and we want to continue rooting for our favorite schools and athletes for generations to come. The current college sports landscape is chaotic, and federal legislation can bring clear and fair rules, predictability moving forward, and protection for our athletes and institutions. Over the past several weeks, I've pushed for reforms to this bill to ensure the interest of Indiana colleges and universities, including our 2 Big Ten schools, are represented. I'm particularly grateful to Chairman Ted Cruz for his team and their collaborative approach and willingness to make the changes to the bill to address concerns raised by the Big Ten. I plan to support this legislation and believe it is the right approach to protect the future of college sports. See, Todd, when you do something good, we say something nice about you. It's not that hard. It's a good move by Young. Look, he could not go. He's going to have. This is the reality of all of this. Todd Young knows for the first time since he was elected senator, he's going to have a viable primary challenger. Somebody that can actually beat him is going to run against him in a primary, whether it's Aaron Houchin or whoever. And he could not go against the Big Ten schools. And he was between a rock and a hard place, and he got bailed out big time by the Big Ten and SEC coming on board with this because people are pissed that this bill wasn't moving forward because college athletics is getting destroyed. He's right. Chaotic is a nice way to say it. It's almost getting unwatchable. And so he got bailed out big time by being able to vote for this. Now that he's not going to piss the Big Ten off, and he's going to make the people happy by voting for it. Hey, do you guys have a dog but not a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime they go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence is locally owned. Kelly and Jeff, great friends of the show, great fans of the show. They have 3 dogs themselves, and they so believed in the product, they bought the business. How about that for a testimonial? All-American Dog Fence, Pet Stop products made right here in the USA, and they come with a lifetime warranty. How about that for peace of mind? All-American Dog Fence. You got a dog, costs nothing to get a free quote. Get a free quote. Find out if it's for you. All-American Dog Fence prides themselves on 2 things. 1, customer service, better than the big guys. And 2, prices, better than the big guys. 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. That's the number for All-American Dog Fence. You can text it. You can call it. Whatever's easiest for you. Mention the Rob Kendall Show. How about this for an incredible deal? You guys mention the Rob Kendall Show. You're going to get an incredible $200 off. $200 off your Pet Stop product. How about that? Great deal. Rob Kendall Show fans, they take care of you guys. All right, let's take another break. We got a lot more to get to. You guys don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show, Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. Don't forget, you can really help us out. If you haven't done so yet, I know I ask a lot during the show, but to hit that little thumbs up really does help us grow the program. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how we grow Rob Kendall Show. It's Wednesday. That means it's time for Double D's. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. Wings, briskets, and more. Ribs, whatever your barbecue preference is. Double D's can do it. Potato salad to die for. Ask our guy C Mills. He'll tell you all about it. So Double D's, they're serious about barbecue. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. The owners, Dennis and Tina, along with their son Garrett, they're from Memphis. They take it all super serious. And that's why they've been the winner of Best Ribs, Best Sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. Not once, but twice they've been winners. So it's a great, great barbecue experience. They're right there on 40 in Clayton, 40 and 39. Check them out. Wings, jumbo wings. Tonight, the special, jumbo wings. Can't go wrong. Ribs, brisket, and more. DDBBQ317.com is the website. DDBBQ317.com. The food's made from scratch each day, so get there early. Once they're sold out, they're done. Double D's Barbecue, huge supporter of our show. They had a little flooding deal last weekend, so go support them. Go check them out. Be a great time for you to throw your support behind Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. Okay, this story that, I don't know, guys. It's pretty rare when I do a story and I'm like, I just don't know. Like usually when I do a story, I'm reading through it. A little inside baseball here. I've got sort of my main stories, right? That we always try to get big local stories. What are our top local stories or things our local politicians are doing? In the case of the college sports bill, it's Todd Young. He's our local politician, even though it's a national story. He was a key player in it. Those are easy. Then I start scouring the internet, Drudge Report, Politico, The Hill. I always reference these places where we get our stories from, and look for, some of these national stories. And, I'll find headlines that are interesting. I'll click on them. Sometimes it's clickbait. The story isn't as good as the headline. Had a couple of those this morning. And so, you go on, you move on, you go to the next thing. And then as I'm reading usually through the story, I'll be thinking about, okay, is this something that would be interesting to you guys? And then my second thought is, what's my take on it? Because if I don't have a take, we're Indiana news, politics, and government, but we have takes on the news. If I don't have a take on something, it's kind of boring. Just watch me sit here and read the news. That's why your local newscast on a radio station is like 2 minutes, right? Boom, in and out. See ya. There's only so much you can do to be entertaining with it. And so I read this article, and I'm like, this is a really thought-provoking article. But I thought, I'm not sure what my opinion on this is. And I thought maybe it'd be a good one for you guys in the YouTube chat to weigh in on. Remember, we have the YouTube chat up. If you're watching us, if you're listening to us, by the way, if you're new and you're like, where do I find this fabulous program? Just put Rob Kendall Show into the YouTube chat, into your YouTube search bar, and bam, it'll pull up. And all you got to do is subscribe. And once you subscribed, you can be in the YouTube chat with hundreds of other Rob Kendall Show fans each day talking about things as the program is going on. We have a great community over there. Love our YouTube chatters. You guys are amazing. So let producer Jason know or comment in the YouTube chat. And at the end of the show, producer Jason reads the best YouTube comments that they brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. I'm hoping this might spark some conversation. It comes to us from Politico, and I'm going to be fascinated to see what you guys think about this. New Yorkers with no more than 6 months to live who meet a strict set of requirements are now able to request life-ending medication from their healthcare providers. So essentially, New York has legalized assisted suicide. Except you don't need like Dr. Jack Kevorkian anymore. There's not like a chamber or a mask that he puts on you. It's essentially, with technological advances, they have come up with ways in mass to assist people with terminal illness or whatever with end-of-life choices. The controversial Medical Aid in Dying Act went into effect on Wednesday, paving the way for New Yorkers with terminal illness to request lethal medication. New York becomes the 14th state, along with the District of Columbia, to legalize medical aid in dying. Advocates continue to push for similar legislation in more than a dozen other states. So I hear this and I say, all right, the first part of me says, all life is precious. All life is important. All life is amazing and all life is special. And obviously I operate from that standpoint on an issue like abortion. But that being said, this is a law aimed at adults, for adults, many of them advanced in life, who have been through their doctors given clear direction that you don't have long to live. And oftentimes they are in a process of suffering, intense suffering. And so for me, it's a balancing act when coming to a conclusion on this of my own thoughts on all life being precious, all life being special, and recognizing that, versus someone's desire to not be in pain anymore. And then I weigh that with who am I to tell you that you have to be in pain. You know, it's interesting. I posted this on Twitter and I posted this on Facebook. Had a guy who used to be friends with. His name was Kevin Kersey. And Kevin passed away yesterday. I believe he was in his mid-50s. And Kevin was really instrumental in my getting back into radio. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this. So I was in radio, owned a radio station, got my start in radio, and then left for several years. I got, obviously really into politics and government. I was an elected official, state pharmacy board director, worked for the auditor's office, and really didn't do radio for about 5-6 years. And when my elected time was coming up, I had to make a choice. A lot of people wanted me to run for Senate. I kind of started that process of putting that together, had a huge army of people. We would have won. It would have been awesome. And I just woke up one day and said, I want to do this for 5 more years. Running the campaign, serving in office, I was really tired. And I didn't like it anymore. And I said, I would have liked campaigning. But knowing how the Indiana Statehouse operated, having been in there, I was like, I'm not going to get anything accomplished. And I said, how do I start having conversations with people? How do I affect the most amount of people? How do I educate the most amount of people? How do I entertain the most amount of people? And it didn't, to make a difference. And it was obvious to me that wasn't going to be some rogue guy in the Senate who was going to get kicked out of the Republican caucus almost upon arrival and then just sit in a corner. And yeah, I could have had press conferences and gotten publicity, but it wouldn't have changed anything. And that was in 2015. And I came to the conclusion then, I said, in order to make a difference, we got to start educating the masses locally. There's not enough people doing it locally. All the talk shows, for the most part, are all about national stuff. And so one of the things I ended up doing, instead of running for public office for Senate, was I started a nightly show on the county radio station, WYRZ 98.9. And it was ultimately that show that got me Trump and these other interviews, which ended up putting me at WIBC. If it weren't for getting that nightly show, and it was a fun show, it wasn't like what I do now. It was an interview-based show. It was really like we had all sorts of newsmakers. Like it could have been, we had senators, we had Young, we had Donnelly, we had obviously Trump, Congress people, all the state people, statewide office holders, but we also had local people too. It was really fun. I'm not sure I ever had more fun than that nightly show. That it was called Central Indiana Today, and I think it aired at 7 o'clock each night. It was 7 to 8. Sold all my own ads, kind of like now, and did the interviews, and it was fun. Like it was fun. And I look forward to it each day. And long story on this, that show was the reason I was able to get to WIBC. Wouldn't have happened without that show, because I had a huge body of work to be able to show those guys, and they were like, yeah, it's pretty good. But Kevin Kersey was one of my original sponsors. He owned an insurance agency. And Kevin was one of the original people who was like, I love this idea. I love the idea of having a local talk show that showcases things in the community, that showcases important issues. I'm in. And he was a huge sponsor of our show, and the reason we were able to get that show off the ground. And it never would have happened without him. And unfortunately for Kevin had a pretty tumultuous end to his life. And he got involved in some things that were, addiction is a horrible thing. And it gets even the best of us. And it's why, when I think about stopping the flow of drugs into our country and things like that, especially for young people, it can mess people up, even people who have great lives. And, I was thinking about this as I was doing this story about the end of Kevin's life. and what that was like. And, I wouldn't want that for him. And one of the things that I posted with this post about is it's important to remember the people who did right by you. No matter where they may have ended up, someone helped you along the way. If someone helped you along the way, no matter where they may have ended up or the choices they may have made or the harm that might have come from that, it's important to, when they pass away, remember people who helped you and the good in those people, because all of us have good in us. All of us have good in us. And I was thinking about that as I was doing this article, like what the end of his life was like. And for a lot of people, they have tumultuous ends for a variety of reasons. Illness, addiction, whatever it might be. And if an adult who is ready to go, wants to make that choice and wants to end their suffering, who am I to stand in the way of it? Whether I would do it or not, it's part of that, leave me alone, you live your life and let me live mine. Don't throw it in my face. Don't make me do as you do. But you leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. And I was thinking about this, like, how do I juggle my passion for life with the idea that that's their life, not mine? Politico goes on to say New York's law is one of the strictest in the country, with safeguards such as multiple patient requests, a residency requirement, and a mental health evaluation. To qualify, a person must be at least 18 years old, have a medically confirmed terminal illness that is likely to cause death within 6 months, be of sound mind, and be physically capable of self-administering the lethal medication. And this was a real controversy in New York because a lot of the death rights advocates didn't want these restrictions, and the governor there, even though she's Democrat, said, I will only sign this with these restrictions, and they ultimately put them in the bill. And so really what you're seeing with this bill is there's no split-second decision. There's no heat of the moment. There's no person being, insane or not of sound mind. This is people who come to this conclusion have really thought it through. They've really made their choice. It's something they really want to do. And I just think even though my own zest for life or living or passion for it, whether I would do it or not, because you don't know until you're in that position, I have a hard time standing in the way of someone else who does want to make that choice. I have a hard time looking at someone and saying, no, you're going to suffer for another 6 months if that's what you want to do. What do you guys think? Let us know in the YouTube chat. I think this is going to be a fascinating conversation. All right, it's hour 3. We've made it to 11 o'clock. That means hour 3, of course, brought to you by the great John Rust. And John Rust, he's having himself a big old party, and you're invited. Saturday, October the 3rd, Palatial Rust Estate in Seymour. It's going to be a big old bash celebrating America's 250th birthday. You've got antique car show, patriotic music, me giving a speech, free lunch catered by Double D's, free birthday cake in honor of Jason's birthday, and a whole bunch more. And it's celebration of you, the Rob Kendall Show listeners, the Rob Kendall Show viewers. We're anticipating hundreds of people to be in attendance. Come hang out with us. Come spend some time with us. Saturday, October the 3rd, 12 p.m., John Rust Estate in Seymour. All you got to do, no cost to attend, just send an email, rustforamerica@gmail.com, rustforamerica@gmail.com. Let John know you're coming, your name, how many people you're bringing with you. That way he's going to know how much food to order, and it's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to seeing you there. And thanks to John Rust making our third hour possible. Couldn't do it without you. Also, speaking of couldn't do it without you, Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. He doesn't just show houses. He finds you homes with everything you're looking for, explains your options, and gets your offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. You'll never be handed off to an administrator. You get Anthony, the owner, from start to finish. Anthony's an expert negotiator, ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put his expert buying strategy and experience to work for you. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159, 317-756-1159. And we're going to have Anthony in next week talking about the whole rental, the whole megacorps buying these homes and making them rentals, and should there be rental caps in communities. I think that'll be a fun conversation. Our guy, Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. All right, we'll take a final break. We're going to go the rest of the way. Commercial free, baby. Stick around. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Help us out. Help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Give us that little thumbs up. Like us whether you're watching us live or on demand. Help us out. Really helps us grow Rob Kendall Show. All right, we got a big show for you tomorrow. Tom Bartelt is going to be with us. Bartelt Farms, you guys see him in the YouTube chat every so often. He has been super involved in the Mid-States Corridor, fighting the Mid-States Corridor. And Tom's going to be with us. We're going to get an update. It is believed that thing is coming back again. And, we're super passionate about doing everything we can to stop the Mid-States Corridor. So we're going to have that conversation coming up tomorrow. Then on Friday, Daniel Pointer is going to be with us. He is the guy who organized the Save Heritage Indiana rally or event, whatever you want to call it, that got all this attention. He's going to be with us. We're going to talk about what the event was, what the group's trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. We'll ask him, are there any known Nazis or KKK members in Save Heritage Indiana? So we got a bunch of great guests coming out up throughout the rest of the week. You got me today. It was all me solo. And you guys are awesome. We appreciate you sticking with us. Third hour brought to you by John Russ. Couldn't do it without him. Also couldn't do it without Bramwell Mackay. Masonry color mismatch. Previous repair catching your eye. Not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay. Property services and consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior. Want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patio, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com. Beauty built to endure. All right, Jason's going to join us here in just a few moments. You guys become the stars. The best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. But before we do that, you know, there were elections all over the country last night. Michigan got most of the attention, but Missouri had the primaries. There were other states that had their primaries. A lot of elections going on last night. And one of the items that was on the ballot in Missouri has ballot referendums. And one of the items that was on the ballot in Missouri was called Amendment 5, which would have phased out income tax in the state of Missouri. Would have got rid of the income tax. Now, it would have replaced it with a sales tax increase. Right? It's never just we're cutting taxes. It's now, that's the new thing, we're replacing taxes. And this amendment, despite being a huge priority of the governor, was defeated 83% to 17%. 83-17, the amendment to end income tax in Missouri failed. Income tax in Missouri accounts for about 61% of their general fund revenue. So it's a big deal. Currently, the Missouri income tax is set at about 4.7%. The income tax here in Indiana is, I believe, just under 3%. The Amendment 5, which was resoundingly defeated. I was shocked, not that it got defeated, but by the amount it was defeated, would have given the Missouri General Assembly 5 years to impose or raise sales taxes on any good or service in the state. As revenue from that increased, it would have triggered and mandated reductions in the state income tax until it eventually became zero. Here's the question I have. And this is true. This is relevant to us here in Indiana because we hear, oh, this push by J.D. Prescott, we're going to get rid of property taxes. But then he's just replacing it with a new sales tax on services, which would, as he's now been forced to admit, actually end up raising the tax burden on Hoosiers. Why are we raising some taxes if we're eliminating others? What's the point of just shifting tax burdens from one thing to the next? Why are we going to all of this effort? Why isn't the goal to actually reduce tax burdens on people? That's not the goal of J.D. Prescott's property tax bill. He's not talking about decreasing tax burdens. In fact, he's actually talking about increasing tax burdens. The logical response to that is, why would any person be for it? Why would any person say, oh, you're raising my taxes? That sounds like a frickin' awesome idea, man. Sign me up for that. And the same question would be for the lawmakers in Missouri. Why would you be for increasing one tax and lowering another? You're just shifting the burden. To quote Hillary Clinton, what difference does it make? Either we're cutting taxes or we're not. Either we're for lowering the burden on citizens or we're not. This shifting hands stuff, it makes zero sense to me. And my question is, why aren't we ever on the side of the people? And Missouri is a Republican state, by the way, like Indiana. Why does it never seem? And so it sort of goes back to the question that I began the day with, or the topic I began the day with, the gas tax. Why is there no push by the General Assembly or the governor to call a special session to continue the suspension of the sales tax on gas and the excise tax on gas? We're sitting on billions in reserves. That reserve is expected to grow. Why are we not for 3 more months or 6 more months or whatever? I mean, they're going to meet again in Org Day. So that's in November. So you got August, September, October, 3 months. Why aren't we having a special session? It could be a 20-minute event. All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand. Adios. 3 more months. You're sitting on $4 billion in reserves. Look, I'm oversimplifying this here, but you'll understand why I'm doing this. It's probably not quite this easy, but let's just, for the sake of argument, it's not that far off. If the the taxes on gas generate $1.5 billion a year, and we cut the year into quarters, right? 3 months is a quarter of a year, 12 months. What's 25% of $1.5 billion? Well, 1/3 would be $500 million. So let's just do a little rounding here, and let's just say it's $400 million, just for the sake of argument. It may be a little more, maybe a little less. You guys get what I'm saying here. Whether it's $500 million or $300 million or $400 million, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll just say $400 million. $400 million is 1/10 of the reserves, which are expected to climb, by the way. But even if they didn't climb, it's 1/10. You're telling me for 3 months we can't give up 1/10 of our reserves? The answer is you can. They don't want to. There is a clear lack of desire from governments across our country. Oftentimes, they're Republican-controlled governments. I'm not insinuating the Democrats would be any better. But what I am saying is nobody appears to be helping the people. Nobody appears to be on the side of the folks. Nobody appears to be on the side of us. How could it be possible that the governor would call a special session over redistricting, despite being told the majority of lawmakers don't want it, but then when it comes to the gas tax, he's like, nope, there doesn't appear to be an appetite for that. Well, why don't we find out? Don't threaten me with a good time. Why don't we call the special session and find out what the appetite is? Why don't we put everybody on the record? The leadership said when Braun did it, Houston and Bray the leader of the Senate, Houston the leader of the House, that this was a good idea. Why wouldn't we carry it on for 3 more months? Why wouldn't we keep it going? The reason we're not keeping it going is because they have plans for the money. The legalized vote buying. Taking money from one group of people and giving it to another group of people for a cause or a project or a program that they believe will make those people want to vote for them. They think you're voting for them no matter what. They don't fear losing your vote. So shut up and pay. Your gas is going to go up 60 cents in a couple days. They don't think you'll do anything about it. It's part of that conversation to come back to about the Secretary of State's race. This is your one opportunity to do something about bad Republican governance. It's the best opportunity you're ever going to have because the office is an administrative office. It doesn't allocate money. It can spend money that's allocated to it. It can't invent policy. It literally carries out the will of the General Assembly. Diego Morales is the fault of the Indiana Republican Party because they never did anything about him. They control the General Assembly, super majorities in the House and Senate. They control the money. They never punished him. They're as guilty as he is because they kept feeding the beast. So when you talk about a great way to send a message to these people about how poorly they govern, this is your shot. You have an administrative office with no responsibility outside of what is given to them by the General Assembly. So if you just had some person that turned out to be a radical, totally out of control, they could cut it all off. And it might be the best entertainment we could get. But if you're sick of this, about never being put first, you at some point have to say, I'm taking a stand. You at some point have to say, I'm done just giving my vote to the Republican. I'm willing to take a flyer. And you have 2 opportunities on the flyers. Greg Ballard, the independent, Lincoln Party, or Bo Bai, the Democrat. If you vote Republican, you're continuing to consent to this governance, which they believe you're going to do no matter what. They believe no matter what they do to you, raise the gas tax, raise this tax, wheel tax, property tax, utility bills. No matter what happens to you, you're never going to stand up for yourself. You're never going to say enough is enough and I'm going to do something different for once. We go back to the conversation we had about the referendums yesterday, about how many of the referendums are repeater referendums. Like 30 of these referendums this year are repeater referendums. It's a thing I've said for years. If you stop the referendum the first time, you got a decent chance that you don't have to worry about it for a while. It's what we experienced where I live. Not only did we beat the referendum, we beat the hell out of the school system. Not literally. We made them know we're going to make your lives miserable if you try this again. And they got the message. Credit to them. And you look at the schools that are having referendums this fall, our school system in Brownsburg, not one of them. A lot of like-minded schools have them or are going for them. Not ours, because they knew what would be in store for them. They didn't want to deal with it. You look at these other schools that have passed them, they keep going for them over and over and over again. They keep doing them over and over and over again. You send in a message to the government, you defeat the government at their own game, a lot of times they'll get the message. They may find ways to work around it, but they get the memo. This is your opportunity to send a message. It's the best one you'll probably ever have. Because you don't even have to, hold your nose and vote for a Democrat. There's another guy in the race whose whole premise of him running is I want other people to be able to participate. Greg Ballard. People have to stop giving their votes away. They have to start standing up for themselves. They have to start acting like they matter. And the best way to do that is at the ballot box. Really, right now, the only way to do that is at the ballot box in this state and send the Republicans a message that they need to start putting taxpayers first. On this show, we put you first. And we do that every day by making you the star towards the end of the program. In which producer Jason reveals himself magically in a box above my shoulder. And he reads the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
That is correct, Rob. If your water softener, water heater, or well pump goes out, don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers. That would include Todd Young in there as the military.
Todd Young's eligible for a discount.
Did you know he was a Marine?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, he'll get that. He qualifies for the American Heroes discount. Owner John McKinney is a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee. Water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give John a call or text today, 765-315-7558. I believe it was, who was it? McLovin's texted me and asked me for the number a couple days ago.
Okay.
Hopefully she got taken care of. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
Reminder with Black Sheep Plumbing, he loves our show. He's doing something cool for us. If you, the month of August, if you hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com, and you give up to $100, he is going to double that in a credit if you use his service. So let's say you go right now to robkendallshow.com, you hit that support button, which helps support our show, and you say, I'm giving you guys, I think you're worth $25. And then you need, a drain unclogged or whatever it might be.
Right.
John is going to give you a $50 credit on that. If you get $50, it's going to be a $100 credit. All you got to do is show him the thank you email that I send when you give it.
How far back does that go?
It's August.
August. Oh, okay.
You got to give during August.
Oh, okay.
And show him the thank you.
Gotcha.
And so it's a great opportunity, especially if you're like, man, I need some plumbing work done anyway.
What if somebody gave on the 31st of July? Are they disqualified?
It said August. I'm just reading I'm reading the stuff here.
Got to read the fine print.
I'm just reading what John sent over. So if you guys are like, man, I need plumbing work, you can actually end up making money on this deal. Think about it.
Oh, yeah.
If you knew you needed plumbing work done,
I don't think he's going to give you cash on top of the...
No. I'm saying, but I mean, you would get, if you, let's say you give $100 at robkendallshow.com.
Right.
You got some big project, a water heater or whatever.
Right.
You're going to get $200 off that, so you're saving $100.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
Save $200, you give $100, and you help the Rob Kendall Show.
Thanks for over-explaining that, Rob. Awesome.
I'm going to let you do the show tomorrow. And I'm going to let you read all the ads and explain all the sponsors.
I'll be happy to.
Perfect. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Take a load off, Rob. There we go. Okay, so I believe the first person in the chat last night when we posted it at like 5:55 was Josh Richardson. I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Congratulations, Josh. First one in this morning, I think, let's see, that would have been somebody told me who was in this morning. We'll find out. Anyway, MLM Warriors starts us off. Good morning. It's 7:22 a.m. Happy Green Peppers Day.
Oh?
Yeah, Green Peppers Day. There we go. Spray Jockey at Producer Jason. I knew it was here. Rusted Bolt was first today. Rusted Bolt Garage first. This morning, Josh first last night.
Right.
We differentiate
Now,
there.
just a reminder, all you have to do to be in this YouTube chat, hours of free entertainment, is subscribe to our channel. So if you've been on the fence,
hours.
Be a subscriber, and then bam, you're in, and you can chat.
There we go. Had over 1,300 comments in the chat yesterday.
Wow, that's great.
I still have to look to see what we had Monday that started back on Friday and carried all the way through the weekend. I did not check that, but I know just yesterday in a 24-hour period, there were easily over 1,300 comments. So if you're not participating in the chat or checking it out, you're really missing a lot. Spray Jockey, nothing makes a hump day great like Double D's Wings Day.
That's right, it's Wing Day, Double D's.
Head out to Clayton. All right, MLM Warriors, the title of the show reminds me that I need to email Todd Young.
Okay, that's why we're here. Glad we did that for you.
That's correct. And he also adds, I plan to contact Senator Todd Young to discuss several topics, including property taxes, veteran affairs matters, the Chicago Bears, Section 219 of the NDAA, daylight savings time, and the EDIC. So there's a lot of topics. Okay, there we go. Typo. Yeah. A lot of topics that.
Who was that?
That's MLM Warriors.
Good for him.
I doubt you'll get any response whatsoever on any of that. But if you do,
you don't know unless you send the email.
That is correct. Don't know unless you.
You know, Merritt used to say, you know, when he was a senator, he was like, I would get these emails from people, and he goes, I'd know where they live. I'd just show up at their house and just scare the hell out of them.
Oh, really?
Like you know, not like intimidate them.
That was
like,
back before the people would pull a gun on you.
Yeah, like I would just go to somebody's house, knock on the door, and say, "Hello, I got your email."
Right.
Or I got your letter.
Isn't that crazy? That's the way all politicians should actually do it. Josh Richardson at MLM Warriors, your comments to Todd Young will be ignored in the order in which they are received.
Likely, but you don't know unless you try.
That is correct. His staffer may reach out and respond.
That's right.
Okay, Josh Richardson. For real, though, if somehow Rob ever got Todd on the show, it would break the internet.
I was told that might be in the works. I don't know, though.
The invitation's out there. I think it'd be great for Todd to come in and stand up to you and say, what do you got, Rob?
And when
Lay
we say
it on
invitation, I don't mean like we just put it out of here. Like we talk to the people who are in the pipeline of doing it. Look, here's the deal. We don't hide anything. He knows I'm going to hit him on the spending.
Right. Well, I mean, you just prepare.
Right. I mean, he knows that's
right.
That's my thing with him.
You're not going to come out swinging. I mean, as far as actual physically swinging. So all he's got to do is just man up intellectually, as a senator should be able to do.
Okay, we got two things we agree on now. We got the no stock trading,
right,
and the college sports thing,
right.
All you got to do is endure a little pain on the spending,
right,
and then go on to the next thing.
And he could probably find a third topic to be a trifecta and claim victory.
It'd be a huge win for him.
It would.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. MLM Warriors, dear Todd, thank you for your support of the Rob Kendall Show.
Well, Todd is not supporting the Rob Kendall Show. People who support Todd are supporting the Rob Kendall Show.
Rusted Bolt Garage. I know, but we know they all listen because they are all wondering how much does Rob know about the skeletons in our closet. That's why they're listening. They want to.
Who's listening?
The politicians.
Oh,
yeah.
I only know what people tell me. I got birdies that tell me stuff. I don't have any investigative tools.
All right. Okay. Driver.
It's just a big gossip fest at my house all day.
Okay. Little birdies. Driver. Rob is done with Micah and would not have him on, period. Did somebody say, okay, I'm sorry, back up here, Josh Richardson. Braun and Micah won't come within 50 feet of Rob now. They know he would roast them into the ground. Diego, he could give Rob show material.
Yeah, I would never have Beckwith on because he's a habitual liar. There's no point.
Right.
Braun wouldn't do it because he would wilt.
He's the intellectual.
No, there would be no way. Yeah. The guy that should have done it, and this is why I say Young should do it, is Diego. Diego missed a huge opportunity to come in here and throw down during that convention thing. And I told him that. I told his people that. I was like, he will make a bunch of fans, whether just by coming in here and having it at me, because a bunch of you guys hate me. So I was like, and what happened? He got smoked.
All right, John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing. In the chat, what's the possibility of having Ballard back on to give us the policies and what the Lincoln Party is for? I know the Republicans and Democrats. What am I voting for aside from a protest vote? So that'd be a good topic.
Right.
Instead of talking about himself and why he's running, why is he creating a new party? And what's the party stand for?
Well, we kind of asked him about that.
Because John wants to know.
Like, we're going to be a bunch of mercenaries. Just take people. I didn't use the term mercenaries. That's my term for it. Well, so that I was talking with somebody yesterday who's very connected into politics, and they were like, talking about all the things the Lincoln Party would have to do, like to form a party, right? Like the Republicans, they have a central committee. Right. They were like, he's going to have to do all that if he gets the 10%. I was like, yeah, that's going to be awesome because it's going to be chaos. I can't wait to see it.
It's a lot of work for somebody his age. All right. Continuing on. Ethan Hatcher, good morning, fellow Robbleheads. I can't wait to hear what Rob has in store for us today. I bet it's going to be another banger. You did a great job today, Rob. No interviews, and you just whipped right through that 2.5 hours.
I just didn't feel like it was. I struggled because there's some days like yesterday where there's just a whole bunch of topics. And you're like, okay, this is going to be a breeze. And then there's some days where you're like, I got to make something interesting here out of this. And so I think we did all right.
Yeah. Talking a lot of local is not easy in the middle of July.
Yes.
That's very tough. All Might is Here is the name. All Might is Here. Maybe a new person. I think they've been here before. I made it to the live for once. No, I guess they haven't been here before.
Okay.
Made it live. Thanks for showing up. All Might is Here. Josh Richardson, Rob looks like he might need a haircut soon.
You know my deal. I go 2 months. 2 months is my...
2 months.
Yeah, because they're so expensive now.
Oh, that's true.
August...
$15 haircuts aren't a thing anymore.
No, it's $20 or something like that anymore.
Outrageous.
With
outrageous.
The with
that
the
extra
tips,
$5 just sends it over the top. Yeah.
So my goal is I go 2 months, and that would I believe be like August 10th is 2 months. It's little goals for myself.
Oh, Tina Duncan has a question. Oh, T Duncan. That would be
Tina Duncan?
Tina?
Double D's.
Double D's. That's what I thought. Okay. Well, Team T Duncan in the chat. Side note, producer Jason, do you like banana pudding? I love banana pudding.
Oh, you do?
Yes, it's very nice, especially when you got the the vanilla wafers on top with the whipped cream and nothing like a good banana pudding cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe she'll bring it for your birthday.
Yes, the answer is I don't know if she's getting for that. Our birthday. It's her birthday as well on October
that's right.
3rd.
Yeah, it's her birthday. Maybe she likes it.
Maybe she likes it. Yeah, that's what we're having. All right. I'll look forward to it. All Might is Here. Stupid gas tax. Yes, we all agree. Hoosier 2025. Good morning, Rob and Jason.
Good morning.
This was all before the show even started.
Oh, before we even started.
Yeah, damn. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. Driver, hot darn. Keeping it clean. Hot darn. I was right. Blue it was. He won the raffle for your shirt being blue.
Yep.
The old man, I don't mind a sales tax because it's distributed evenly to everyone. I've always been the same way. I felt the same way. A good sales tax over a property tax or all the gas tax. Well, gas tax, I mean, you got sales tax, so that is kind of a thing. That way, you can choose to drive, you can choose not drive, you can choose to buy a yacht or not buy a yacht. And if you buy it, you're paying taxes on it, all the way. No deductions, nothing like that. You buy a car, you pay the taxes. You buy a, roll of whatever, bubble gum, you pay the taxes. Or you don't have to, and you can save that money, put it in the bank, and not be taxed as income tax. That's my thing.
How about we just have less taxes?
Think I could run for the governor on the Lincoln Party for that?
Absolutely. It's wide open. Are you willing to be a mercenary? That's really what you have to do.
No, I'd let you do that, and I'd just be the quiet behind the scenes.
Apparently, they're seeking mercenaries.
There we go. All right. All I need is a helipad for my my helicopter, and I'm good. And you got to give me a helicopter, too. Oh. All right. Yeah. The helipad will do me no good without the helicopter. All right. C-Mills, good morning, all. And you know what we haven't had in a while? Good morning, Rob and Jason, the legend.
Oh, there you go.
I was telling my mom the other day, no, there's no, I leave out usually the legend part. I don't want to make Rob feel bad.
That's right.
Things, but, me and C.
Me and C.
My boy. What am I going to do? Not read it? All right. The old man 68, the price per barrel doesn't equate to the price per gallon. Yeah, the price per barrel keeps going down and then up and down and then up, but the price of gas keeps going up.
Yeah, Herrick went into that a little bit on so last week he was here. The oil, no, it was Monday.
Is it that the oil companies are being greedy? Are they anti-Trump and trying to make them look bad? Are they just looking for the opportunity to make an extra
he was talking
billion?
he was talking about the refinery cost and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So they're just looking for
an
excuse to make the money. MLM Warriors, is there a key on the table? Can you believe that?
I forgot to.
Can you believe that? He even pointed out it looks like a blue keychain, with.
I totally forgot to put that back in my pocket. You guys are amazing.
Yeah. Jack the Libertarian. Libertarians, and we're talking about libertarians. A lot of libertarian talk today. Rob's parted from the Libertarian Party. Libertarians are the only party that want to eliminate gas tax. Okay, well, like file 5 of you? I mean, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to eliminate it?
Here's the problem. And this is what like Rainwater ran into. They don't ever talk about how they do the thing then. Right? Okay. So you want to get rid of property taxes, right? Fine. No, nobody thinks local governments are more bloated than me. However, there are basic things that have to be paid for. Police, fire, roads, bridges, sidewalks. You want to get really fancy and have some level of parks, etc. Well, I'm not, I think parks should be private, but it's not going to happen. Even if you slash local government funding in half, which I would probably be fine with, there are things you have to have. How do you pay for those? It's why the Prescott plan is not that bad other than the amount of money he's trying to consume. And I told him that a year ago. I was like, if that number's 4 or 5% instead of 7, you got a different ballgame. But you're not advocating for cutting government. You're advocating for growing government. So the libertarians will never want to acknowledge you have to have some mechanism by which to pay for that.
And it's not necessarily the amount of the tax. It's what are you doing with that tax money? I mean, we never see the improvement in the roads other than, well, we're always working on the roads. That's like the signs, your tax money at work. I never see anybody working on those roads. I mean, on 31 on the south side in Greenwood, you've got cones that have been up for 3 months, and I've never seen anybody working on those. And yet they got the traffic all rerouted and backed up for miles. And, well, there's your tax money at work.
That's right.
Yeah, or incompetent work. All right. Bob Schwarm. Libertarians also want open borders. I think that was a counter. I think he's saying
very
yes.
clear. Many of these libertarians think you're a Nazi or a KKK. I mean, there's been no.
I mean, where do you stop it? Like, well, there's 10 million people that came in, and look, what's the problem? Well, we're paying for those. What if it's 20 million? What if it's 30 million? What if the entire world said, we just want to live in the United States, and we open the borders and say, yeah, come on over. You don't even have to check in at the desk.
That's what they want.
Just walk on in, and we'll pay for it. How many millions are we going to allow before it's like, well, maybe there is a problem? Well, you're just a racist.
It's like they have such an idealistic way of looking at their freedom, right? That they don't want any responsibility with the freedom. And part of having freedom is also
not a kumbaya
responsibility.
World. I mean, yeah.
You have rights, freedoms, whatever, as a U.S. citizen, but we have the right to police who the U.S. citizens are. That would be insane not to do that. It would be insane.
Witty reviews. This is so good. I think Witty's been happy with you. I think he's been happy with you the last few days. Jack the Libertarian. Witty is a great libertarian, and they want to throw him out.
Well, because he said the thing. He said basically the same thing I said. He's an officer in the party, though, which is they deserve to lose their ballot access. They do. They do. The best thing to happen to libertarians would be lose the ballot access. Then you got to decide. You got 4 years to figure it out. Are we going to be a Dungeons and Dragons club, or are we going to get our act together and act like adults and get back on the ballot and be serious? Best thing to happen to them.
All right. Christy Avery.
I love Christy. I'm sure she's not very happy with me right now, but that's okay.
Big fan of yours,
We
Rob.
love Christy.
She says, I love Rob. It's a love
We love
fest.
you, Christy. I've known Christy for a long time.
But there's a but.
Uh-oh.
Always a big but. The influence he thinks he has is a little inflated.
No, that's not true at all.
Referring to the fact that you ranted on the libertarians yesterday, and then they came out with a Dickens novel refuting what you said or smoothing over what you said. But you had nothing to do with any of that. Timing is what it is.
One of the most prominent libertarians in the state sent it to me. So he goes, look at what you did.
Mm-hmm. And a couple people pushed back. Chris Chafin at Christy Avery. He has enough influence for the Libertarian Party to send out an email and make post in regards to yesterday's show. The old man 68 at Christy Avery. Well, his influence is why his old radio station let him go. He interfered with Braun's pet mid-state corridor project and helped get it shut down for now, but we're going to do part 2 tomorrow.
Speaking of which,
yes,
Tom Bartelt is going to be with us from Bartelt Farms on tomorrow's show, and he is going to talk about the latest that's going on with that nasty, no good, rotten mid-states corridor.
And he's sacrificing a 3-hour drive to get up here to make the appearance.
I think that's what I want on my tombstone when I meet my inevitable end. He stopped the corridor.
There we go. And I helped. All right. I helped. Bucko said, what's that commercial? And I helped. All right, Bucko 707. My guess is that they all have gas cards and don't really care how much gas is. These are the people that have no problem, apparently, with the gas tax. I wonder if they also use these cards for family members. Who knows? Just thinking out loud. Okay. Like they're not paying attention to the price of the gas because they got the gas card.
Oh, well, so,
I think that's what he's
lawmakers, right? So, so like when I was the driver for the auditor, they had a gas card.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't use your own card. They had a taxpayer-funded car, too.
Well, the politicians don't pay their...
I don't know if the politicians have to pay for their own gas or not.
I mean, like Diego's paying out of his pocket to check on the businesses all over the state.
They have he has, well, Diego, didn't come out, he had multiple cars? I can't remember if I remember that right or not. But obviously he has a very nice, large car that we know about. Right. No, we don't pay for the gas on that. The taxpayers pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he takes that thing pretty much everywhere he goes.
Right. Hoosier 2025. Does Black Sheep Plumbing come to Bloomington?
John McKinney, do you come to Bloomington? You have potential business on the line here.
Still in the chat there, Mr. McKinney.
I can't speak for you.
Nope. Steve Green with an E. As the self-proclaimed Mitch McConnell official outlook for the Rob Kendall Show, I still have not seen proof of life.
Isn't that wild? And that story has just gone away again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it goes away, and then Bashir
we'll
has
give
to
him a few days to, whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What is going on with this country?
All right. So you did the thing about the guy with the press conference about the nude shot of his child.
Yes.
Now, let's clarify, because I question you. The only reason you would have a nude photo, that there's a nude photo, would sound salacious, but a naked photo of a child would be that because there was allegations of abuse, so they needed to take photos, so the abuse might have been...
It was part of...
And again, they sexual, did they? They just said...
No.
But why would they need to be naked?
And again, I'm just...
And it freaks me out when people have naked photos of their kids and then they put them up like this is we wanted a memento of our child, and you see their butt. That's creepy to me. Sorry if that's you, but that's creepy to me.
Well, and again, I'm just
parsing this is different, of course,
through because you're going off of what he said, and I'm not like closely following this, just high level like a lot of people are. That he uploaded these documents, they're court documents supporting his claim about how he has not abused his kid.
Right.
And in one of these photos, there was some sort of court document. I'm guessing it was over allegations of abuse, some sort of photo to prove or disprove the allegations of abuse, and somehow it made it into this Dropbox thing that the attorney put.
So like maybe for bruises or something on the child, but we don't know if there were bruises or
I don't know.
What? Okay. I just want to clarify that. Okay. So All Might is here suggested then he should take it to law enforcement. But I believe, again, it was already taken to law enforcement, and that's why.
It was in these court documents, yes.
Okay. Let's continue on. Boom. MLM Warriors, Rob for governor. Had to get that one in there.
$10 million.
$10 million. There we go. Chris Chafin, run, Rob, run.
$10 million.
Yep.
Somebody's got $10 million laying around. It's like, this would be fun for me to watch Rob Kendall just have a blast with $10 million.
But $9 million wouldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to get over the finish line with 9.
I have 10. Said this.
Do you get to keep the extra?
No, you don't. That's how you get in trouble.
Oh, you mean like if you got $10 million and you're frugal and you spend $6 million, but you're a loser, and you got $4 million left, where does that go? Is it like,
stays in your
Chase Bank get to keep it, or where does it go?
You have a campaign account,
right? So again,
it stays
because
in there.
We knew a guy that used to pay out of his. He was like way gone from politics, and he would be like, "Well, I'm going to write you a check half out of my campaign." Well, you're not running for anything. What do you mean? Well, I got campaign funds, so I mean, it's like, but that would be reasonable because what do you got? You got $4 million left over. You're no longer going to be a politician. You get to keep it, right?
Well, I mean, you can disperse it as you see fit within the laws. There's rules and regulations and what constitutes as campaign activity. You can give it to other candidates. You can, I mean, there's a whole list of, I mean, you don't get to take, let's just say some guy came in and was like, here's $10 million. You form a campaign, you put it in there. You don't get to take it home with you. But it would sit in that account until you use it for various campaigns.
Right. But if you ran for one race and you ran never again and you lived to be 90, you can never touch that money?
Only for campaign. You could give it to other campaigns.
I'm saying that, okay, and you not you, but somebody dies, right? They got $4 million left over from a campaign, okay, and they pass away.
Yeah.
Well, that money's sitting in an account at Chase Bank. What happens to that money?
My guess
would
be, I don't know this for sure, but my guess would be the treasurer and whoever the campaign chairman is would have the ability to disperse those funds. There's charities that qualify, other candidates, political action, depending on what the office is. Because remember, Evan Bayh had all that money sitting for all those years when he ran for Senate. Remember when he came back and ran for Senate? He had those millions of dollars that had sat in that account for 10 years. We'd spend all the money, though. There wouldn't be. I mean, these ads, guys, I'm telling you, these ads.
Charities be damned.
These ads would be amazing, and this campaign would be amazing, and the stuff we would do. See, I like we joke about this. I'm not running for governor, but what are these, for fun, these are things that I think about. Like, I know if I did this, who would run the campaign. I know how it'd be structured. I know who would work for me. Like, I in my mind have that all, exactly what we would do. And one of the things you realize very quickly in these campaigns is they're all run by consultants. And the consultants have basically 5 playbooks in front of them. How do you run a campaign? Well, it's got to come out of one of these 4 or 5 playbooks. How do you respond to the other candidates? Well, it has to come out of one of these 4 or 5 playbooks. If it ain't in the playbook, they don't know what to do. And we wouldn't be in any playbook. We would do stuff like, I'm serious. We've joked about this for years. I would try to rent that top floor, that Lockmiller building, so we could just drape large sheets out the window with political
spray painted sheets.
No, it'd be great. They would have no idea what we would do. It would be all sorts of stuff like that. It'd be awesome. It'd be great.
Right. All right. Well, Rusted Bolt Garage, I'm starting a GoFundMe for Rob's governor race.
Do not do that on my behalf. I am not running for governor. Don't start any GoFundMes. I don't want any money. Don't do anything. I'm not running.
I'll run. Rusted Bolt Garage, John Rust for lieutenant governor.
John Rust for governor. There we go.
Yeah.
Bam.
I think they were saying Rob governor.
Nope.
John, the sensible one.
I'm needed here.
Lieutenant governor. Okay. Old guy KS. Rob, I'm curious on your take as to why Fetterman got elected.
Because Dr. Oz is awful. Trump, that's another Trump guy. They had that dude who was running against Oz in the primary, who would have been way more electable. I actually think he's the guy who ended up becoming the senator this last time. He ran again because there was another office that opened up and won. Maybe I'm confusing guys. I think this is the guy. And he was a known quantity. His family was known. And Trump got behind Oz. And nobody liked Oz, but he, because he had the Trump endorsement, he won. And then that people they didn't see him as being from Pennsylvania. And they were just like, this guy's an elitist jerk who doesn't know anything about our state. So we're not going to vote for him. So we'll vote for the guy who can't speak. It'll be fine.
Okay. Moving on. Okay. That's the photo that should not exist of the little baby. TCGTRI Gamer. I just don't understand why all the politicians are so dumb. I guess because anyone who had an average IQ holds a normal job. Well, a lot of people aren't going to be subjected to all the crap that goes on, even if you are clean. You've got kids in school or whatever. They're embarrassed because their dad's, constantly on the news for something that may or may not be true, especially a woman. They probably have a little more hard of a time. And so, I think most normal people are like, I'm not,
I had this conversation.
$10 million or not, I'm not doing it.
I had this conversation last night with some friends, they're political people and media people, and we all got together for dinner, and they were asking me about that. And they said, what do you do with your family out in public? And I said, I rarely have like a family event out in public because I don't want my wife or kids subjected to anywhere I go. People are going to, not saying like I'm Elvis or something, but especially locally. People
so the wife
know,
doesn't take you grocery shopping?
No. Now, we will go out.
Stay home, watch the kid.
We will go out and do stuff every so often. But like my kid, she lives her own life, right? I want her to sink or swim, get into, all on her own. And I'm very, very rarely
Maybe
ever.
Maybe she'll run for governor.
Maybe someday. That would be something. I hope I'm here to see it. She's a chip off the old block. There ain't no doubt who that kid's daddy is.
Right.
But it's like, I don't want her, good or bad, to be, I want her to have her own life.
Right.
And all that stuff. And she has her community.
Just being an anonymous Kindle.
You're right. Through daycare. And I was just thinking about
your dad, he's the...
Right. But I was just thinking about that, like the kids, when we had the sports broadcasting company, there were a lot of kids whose dads were prominent people or were sports broadcasters or whatever. And they would be at the games and always be like, oh, so-and-so is here. And I used to think about that like, man, that's probably pretty hard for that kid to know that whether he was an athlete or a sports broadcaster,
like Pat Knight.
Like your dad, people are always focused on your dad or your dad's here,
right.
Right. And you just want
like LeBron James when his kid was in high school, they would show him he'd be standing there, everybody be looking at the gym, all the eyes are looking at LeBron and not the kid. And,
yeah. I always thought that's like I don't want any of that. Like it's we go to the park, we go to the playground, stuff like that. But in terms of like sports and stuff, I don't ever see myself being like a coach of a little league team or something.
No.
Because it's like I did
that with my kid. I regret because it's like well, am I overplaying him? Should I? He's pitching real well. It's like, well, I got to give the other kids a chance. Otherwise, it looks bad. It's like, well, that was stupid. I look back, it's like should have let him pitch the whole damn game.
But to your point, there's a lot of good people who don't. Because think about whatever. Even if you've lived an exemplary life, this is what I always say to people. If you live an exemplary life, whatever the worst moment of your life is, imagine if it got broadcast to no matter who you are.
And that's moment of each day, or
right? I mean, and sometimes they go back and find stuff from when you were young, and all. It's just like a lot of people who are great people are just like, I don't want that, I don't deserve that, I want to live my life, do my thing. And these people that are in politics, this is their claim to fame. This is their thing. This is their power moment.
Right.
People got shoved in lockers in high school, and it's what they do.
Well, I don't think Bo Bai got shoved in a locker in high school.
No. But I mean, let's take Bai for example. He's probably and this is what I said about. I was actually having this conversation with somebody that's very politically connected, a Republican, about Bai the other day, and I believe it's true. He gets a lot of crap for being like, they call him Nepo baby or whatever.
Right.
Every encounter I've had with him, and I'm pretty good at spotting the BS at this point.
Right.
He seems like actually a pretty cool dude, like a decent guy. Is he a politician? Yeah, of course he is, right? He's running for public office. But I don't think he is the way people describe him. He seems like a pretty decent guy. But his life, probably to some extent, was largely like created for him, right? Around the idea of,
well, if your parent, again, LeBron, I don't know why I keep bringing LeBron up, but if your parent are okay, if your dad is in the NFL and you're 6 years old and you're at the training facility practice and the other players are throwing the ball to you, you're going to gravitate toward the sport probably. Basketball, politician, your dad's Evan Bai. I mean, it's like, oh, it's nepotism. Well, I mean, you were around politicians.
Right.
You grew up with that. You grew up with dad talking to mom about the things. And so it's just kind of a natural progression for a lot of people.
But I feel bad for him because some of these kids that are politician kids are just rotten.
Well,
like we met them. We've been around them. They're just rotten. He is not that. He's like a genuinely super nice guy. And one of the things about Bai that's super interesting, his memory of stuff or things that he like recognizes is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just like the politician stuff. That is like he genuinely, now he may have learned that it's important to pick up on those things or whatever, but that's like his actual, that's it. Actually, I think he gets a bad rap. I think he is actually is a pretty good guy.
Okay, MLM Warriors, welcome new listeners. Do we want to say where the new listeners were coming from? Or
no, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
We gotta wait till they give us the thumbs up to say, because people are tinkering with stuff, and until they say go.
We do have new listeners coming from there.
And hopefully we may have new listeners coming from a lot of places.
Very true. We're
working on stuff.
It's moving along very quickly. Okay, the old man 68. That's what makes this group so great. We can all agree to disagree and still show up at John Rust and share a beer.
That's right.
Well, not officially share a beer. You got to keep that under wraps, but you can, there you go. Sue Seifert. No, we've been brainwashed with that to believe the country and the U.S. are of the same interest. They are not. That would have been okay.
Oh, that was probably Fetterman and Stewart.
Yes. Sorry, that was.
You got 2 minutes, by the way.
Okay, there we go. Okay, TCGTR Gamer said the last quote wasn't his best, but we're going to give you a second one here. I just don't care about the Jews when you have communists and Islamists taking over our country. He was saying that everybody's got this whole thing about Israel and Jewish people, where we should be worrying about the communists and the Islamists. Adam Baltus, my daughter and I my daughter and I RSVP'd for John Rust event this morning. There we go.
Adam Baltus, huge fan of our show. Baltus Travel, great, fine local business. If you're planning a vacation somewhere, Baltus Travel, just Google that. That's the guy for you.
And hopefully our buddy Charles Ludi got his RSVP in as well, asking the other day about that. Shrog Sandwich, Josh, talking to Josh, Josh Richardson. I think, let's sorry about that. That's a whole conversation we can't. Drew Picnic. Sorry.
Every day, Drew.
I get flustered here at the end. Okay. Assisted suicide. I'll just bang through some of these. The safety dude. I think Oregon has done that assisted suicide. TCR Gamer. Or whatever, gamer. When you allow hospitals or doctors to make money from killing people, healthcare is no longer about health. Very good point. Did they make that decision on their own? Were they forced into it by family members? Did the doctor let them know your bill's getting pretty high? This might be where you want to cut that off.
Well, I think that's why New York put all those requirements on it, that you got to hop through all those hurdles to get it done.
But Drew, if someone decides they want to end their life, they don't want to be alive, that's their right to do so. MLM Warriors, thank you, John Rust. MLM Warriors, Rust for America. Kevin Branham, thanks, John Rust, for the third hour. Josh Richardson, thank you, John Rust. Christy Avery, thank you, John Rust, for sponsoring Hour 3, which was completely commercial-free. Steve Green with an E. Rust or Bust, thank you, John. Rusted Bolt Garage, thank you, John Rust. And finally, this is a new one, Shadrick Holden. The extra $4.5 billion is spent already. It's going to the Mid-States Corridor. We'll find out about that tomorrow. Perfect timing on that one, sir. Thank you very much. And that's the chat. By the way, Janie died. Popeye and Janie. Janie Hodge, that you don't know Popeye, you don't know Janie. Popeye and Janie show. She was 93. It was when I grew up. Remember I mentioned that as a kid, my flashback memory of cartoons is basically Janie and Popeye show.
Kidding.
So she passed away yesterday, 93 years old, and sorry to see that. So long, Janie, and we'll see y'all later. The chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Going to do it for us today. Statehouse Happenings will drop maybe this evening, maybe early tomorrow morning. Keep an eye out for that videos tab. It drops into all the on-demand feeds as well. Jim Merritt, myself. It's going to be a fun time. Abdul's on vacation, so just Jim Merritt, myself this week. You guys take care of yourself. You have an awesome rest of your day. We will see you back here 9 to noon tomorrow. Producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching, you've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.